So, oh boy, this is gonna be a fun one, and I wanted to make it a bit of a celebration. Put some effort in the thumbnail, schedule it ahead of time, make sure to clear my busy schedule, and just make sure we'd all be ready for what we're about to behold. And just as a little audio test on my end, because I'm naturally paranoid that my headphones are just gonna die on me any moment. I did the little audio check, and holy crap! The new intro they have for Hovind streams is concentrated cringe. So that's gonna set the stage for the madness we're inevitably gonna have happen here, where apparently since Daddy Trump didn't pay attention the first time last year when Kent did his little open letter to Donald Trump, he did another one. This actually caused me to break my temperance, shall we say, away from Hovind for a moment to work on other things and devote this afternoon to this madness. So, I've already been going about a minute and a half. Without further ado, hello, everyone. I'm some jerk on the internet, and it's time to whack Hovind. Are you ready? Because, oh boy. Here we go. On Hovind's totally non-existent YouTube channel, a letter to POTUS Trump 2, : Kent, it's amazing that you're begging for a pardon. It's amazing you're begging for a pardon. First off, given that one, you've already done the time, a pardon would do nothing. And two, a pardon is admission of the crime. But ancillary to that, it's amazing that you're still doubling down on Trump being anything decent. Well, that anyone thinks he's anything decent, but especially since he is mentioned more times in the Epstein files than God and Jesus are in the entirety of the Bible combined. Now, granted, there's a lot more Epstein file content than there is biblical text. I think word for word, there's definitely more in Epstein, even unredacted. But the fact that that he's mentioned as many times as he is quite telling. That being said, we all know Kent doesn't care about Epstein or anything. Kent is friends with pedophiles all the time, hangs out with them, invites them to Dinosaur Adventureland. Yep. I'm putting it off enough, and we come in, of course, in the middle because this is preamble for Hovind streams. They get a little buffer for everyone to come in, which I was planning on doing, setting up something, but forgot to, whatever, for this one. Yeah, enough ado. Be prepared for some AI cringe.
Day one, the light burst free from the dark. Hands-on experiments igniting the spark.
Yep. It's an AI country song about Dinosaur Adventureland with sped up ass Hovind clips that look like they should be synced with yakety sax. You know what? Hold up. I got that. I'm so doing that. If I can scour the original TikTok video, that might be cool because you'll notice in the corner it's got TikTok Kent Hovind official mix Kent footage with yakety sax. And for those of you who don't know, which I think is a very small fraction of my audience, because I think you're all very, very smart on use and filled with useless information, yakety sax is the Benny Hill music, the saxophone thing. Anyway, let's continue with this cringe fest.
Tesla coil zapping through the air, a science adventure beyond compare. Day to the heavens stretched blue and wide, reflecting mirrors with light as our guide. Magnet spinning, teaching.
Sorry, what you saw right there for that split second. Let's go back just a hair.
Mirrors with light as
That's that weird outdoor classroom that Kent has, and actually, apparently, there's multiple of them because this one's next to like a sandstone wall of some kind.
our guide.
Yeah, what the hell is that? But he's got these outdoor classrooms. They're just full of his slides, like everywhere. And you spend most of your time there on his stupid ass tours. It's a shrine to himself.
guide. Magnet spinning, teaching us the way. The mysteries of creation on display. Dinosaur Adventureland, where wonder tastes.
Yeah, an animation on the Hovind theory as well. It's incredible. And hey, AI singer guy, you know what the biggest creation mystery is? Why in the fuck the creator god doesn't seem to fucking exist, doesn't just pop down and be like, yo, what's up? And why we never see that fucker create anything, yet we're supposed to believe your magical storybooks, legends of them pooping everything into existence over a week. Yeah.
6 days of creation crafted by a mighty hand. Dive into the science, see the truth firsthand. Dinosaur Adventureland.
Pure cringe.
Well, good evening, folks. Kent Hovind here at Dinosaur Adventureland in Lenox, Alabama. Brought back some memories, some of them old shots in there. We've come a long way with some of those activities, like the old the leap of faith swing. Used to jump off a ladder. Gotta come try it now.
And you know, you look at it, really look at it, what we've seen of that science center between the two videos that I covered. They never did finish the rest of their 7 days of the science center, 7 days of creation crap, but it's literally just Hovind gets a hold of random neat stuff, old exhibits from places and the like, puts them in there, and then just slaps Jesus on, and it's like, there you go, Tesla coils exist, therefore God. It's like, what the fuck? Everything's a non sequitur, but what do you expect with these clowns?
Sorry for the cough here, folks.
Ooh, might want to go have that checked out, Kent.
It'll probably go in about 40 years. Tonight, February 9th, this is my spiritual birthday. I got born again into God's family February 9th.
No one fucking cares, but that at least explains why you picked today to do this. Well, this day to do it.
1969, 57 years ago. So I'm going to do my second open letter to Donald Trump. Overturn my case, please. Pay back what the damages they did and leave me alone. I get called all
No.
kinds of stuff. They call me tax protester and everything else.
Hey, Kent. Getting a pardon from the president, even if you did, we still call you those things because you are a tax protester. You are a typical ass sovereign citizen. And once again, I must stress that acknowledging a presidential pardon, even if such even made sense a decade after you got out of jail, out of prison, I should say, would be an admission of guilt and that you have been pardoned for committing the crime. It's not what you think it is, you moron.
I'm not, okay? Our found country was founded by those guys, and I think that's fine. But it's not me, okay? I got other things to fight. Let's see. We're on a bunch of channels. We're on Facebook, on Rumble, on X, on our...
Anyone else have a Pavlovian response when he says we're on a bunch of different channels? You immediately expect him to say they took us off YouTube, and when he doesn't say it, you kind of get shocked for a moment. Like, I have been conditioned to expect that. It sucks, man. I watch way too much of this crap.
own app, KentHovind.tv, on Instagram, on TikTok. Sign up for all of them, and we'll be there for something. Okay, let's see. I'm going to skip all the preliminary stuff and go straight to the show tonight.
Oh, Hovind skipping the preamble. Amazing.
My second open letter to President Trump. I did one a year ago, February 1st, 2025.
2025 that Trump didn't pay attention to because you're not important, Kent. Get the fuck over it.
It's my second up.
By the way, he tried to get a pardon while he was actually in jail or in prison during the Obama administration, and that was turned down. Shout out to Esben for bringing that to my attention. I need to pull up and just show that for the record sometime, but not now. We're going to focus on this.
Appeal to President Trump. Please investigate my case. Even though it's 20 years old, there's no statute of limitations on fraud. What they did to me was wrong, fraudulent, evil. They should be punished, and I should be exonerated. Okay. So you talk about the weaponized Justice Department. President Trump, you know full well about that. They went after you. These guys can put up.
I already regret doing this stream, but fuck it, we ball.
Lock up a ham sandwich. Stop this, please, okay? Please investigate my case.
We're allowed to break laws and be leeches to society, but no one else can.
Overturn it. Kent Hovind, February 9, 2026. Jesus told the story of a widow who kept asking and asking to be avenged of her adversary. The judge finally did. Today, February 9th, my spiritual birthday, and to God's family 57 years ago, is my second time to come to those in power, senators, congressmen, anybody. Look into what happened. That you can become world famous by getting.
I love this. He thinks he's so important that on this random particular day, he just has to beg the leader of the free world, if you can call any of that such, for special consideration with all the other shit going on in the universe. And yes, I say the whole fucking universe because why the fuck not? Trump thinks he owns everything. So, puts his goddamn name on everything. The fucking egomaniac piece of shit.
Me exonerated. Because I got 8 million, 9 million people watch my show every month.
No, they don't, cunt. You're just wrong. Joseph, stop blowing smoke up Kent's ass. Seriously, bro. Those aren't the numbers you're pulling.
We'll tell who did it. Up to 10 last time. Okay, 10 million people.
No, just 10, Kent.
Okay. Jesus spoke a parable to them and said that men should always pray and not faint.
Kent, I get more live viewers than you, at least YouTube-wise. I'm sure if I streamed to other platforms, I'd get a lot more, but I'd also then have to abide by like 12 different services, terms of use at once. And I stretch things as is with YouTube, and I feel comfortable here, so I'm just going to stick to this.
There was in the city a judge, which feared not God, neither regarded man, neither ruled correctly. I added that part. And there was a widow in that city, and she came unto him, saying, Avenge me of my adversary. And he would not for a while. But afterward he said within himself, Though I fear not God, nor regard man, because this widow troubleth me, I'll avenge her. I'm going to keep asking President Trump, probably for the rest of my life. I will. I have nothing to fear from the.
Oh, good. That means you'll be going right after he goes, right? Because his time is short. He's not going to make it to 2027. I fucking guarantee that. If I will proverbially eat my hat if that fucker is still around by 2027. But his health is not looking good at all.
The truth about my case. Okay?
The truth is you committed massive amounts of fraud via transaction structuring in conjunction with violating law rules for withholding taxes for an employer to employees, amongst other crimes which you may or may not have been convicted of as well through various points.
Okay, let's see. I would like all those who love me or who have been helped by our ministry to write, call, or email President Trump or your senators and ask them to invest.
I mean, I've been helped by your ministry, but insofar as it giving me the perfect thing to rip into where I feel comfortable throwing shade your way. And that's expanded into other things slowly but surely as I grow more confident in myself. So in a way, I should thank you, Kent, for giving me an opportunity to allow myself to grow more confident. That's not really a good thing for you, though. It just means that you were so easy to fuck with that I didn't feel self-conscious with how it would go. Because no matter what idiotic ramblings I'd make, they'd still be infinitely more intelligent than anything that you could ever, have ever, or will ever utter.
Investigate my case and right this great wrong. Please do it for my birthday, okay? Spiritual birthday present, right? President Tim, I can't afford, Mr. President, I can't afford to give you fame or money. You already have both of those. We love you, what you have done to turn our...
Oh yeah, good point. He's taking a street, rebroadcast and such. Also, isn't that egomaniacal as fuck to make your official portrait for your second term be based on your fucking mugshot? Like, what the hell is that? And it's a shitty mugshot too. It looks fucking horrible. Of course, he's always been an ugly son of a bitch, but god damn.
Country back. Thank you. We support it. We're asking you to investigate the terrible wrong done to me, my family.
How about we investigate the terrible wrongs done by everybody on that particular island in question, which we are now calling Kid Rock? God, we got some dark humor in the Zadara Discord, and if you're not in the Zadara Discord, in the Zadara Discord, link is in the description. You should join and throw shade like we all do, because holy shit, it is crazy in there.
And a Christian ministry 20 years ago by the evil Pensacola weaponized Justice Department, and fix it.
Now, Claude, if we let Trump know that Kent hangs with pedos, that's going to make Trump like him more. We can't be having that.
You know firsthand those evil people what can do, and you can fix this. Please avenge me and my adversary. So we're going to send.
Yes, because you're more important than ending the genocide in Gaza, than stopping us attempting to take over sovereign nations because we're just horrible fucking colonizing garbage now. Actually, America's always has been, but you know. What else? Oh, yeah, there's the little matter of prosecuting everyone in the Epstein files who there's evidence of them having committed a crime, which, given the status that old Jeffy Boy and Miss Maxwell have currently, well, I mean, Epstein's dead, but still, yeah, I think that brings some validity to interpretations of their interactions with others for what may have actually happened, and euphemisms aren't being read too deep into.
This to President Trump and all the different leaders that we can think of who might be interested in helping, okay? Finding the weaponization of the federal government, ending it. Look at that. This is from a year ago.
Look at that. He always fucking says that.
They've known this going on, folks. Donald Trump.
No, they play the classic persecution complex game, where they treat it like they're the victims when they're the ones who are victimizing the world.
You're weaponizing our Justice Department. Yes, that's what they do in communist countries. Okay?
No. Authoritarian hellholes it happens in, but that is not a communist trait. Also, I can't help but notice that the particular little YouTube clips you decided to show, that one is from Fox News, and it's an older piece where it says former president, dated 2023. So you're a little out of date there, buddy.
The judicial.
Also, did you just imply the United States is communist? Because let me tell you, Kent, if this place was communist, number one, the Epstein files wouldn't be an issue because all the problems would have been resolved with it very quickly. Two, just about everyone I know wouldn't be in the financial situations they're in because such situations are impossible. And three, we would have a much better theme song for the country. So I'm going to be point blank. Star Spangled Banner fucking sucks, all right? Give me the anthem of the USSR. That's fucking gold right there.
System of America has been weaponized against President Trump. I agree, okay? Weaponizing the justice system against Trump, something we find repulsive. Yeah, they did.
Wow. It's almost, Kent, as if you search for something on the internet, you'll find stuff that has that in it. So if you search weaponize the justice system, you'll get a bunch of random right-wing videos that talk about the weaponization of the justice system from people who are ironically doing that to the general populace. Oh, yes. But they want to act like, every accusation is a projection is the thing. Accusation is an admission, I should say. But every accusation is also a projection. Or every projection. Yeah. Every accusation is also a projection of themselves. Fuck, what else was I going to say? I'm having major brain lapses here. This is wonderful. I'm an amnesia patient over here. Where am I? Who are you people? What the hell is this? Let's continue.
To me, a Baptist preacher, too, okay?
Wow. It's all so you being a Baptist preacher automatically means you can just get away with fucking financial crimes. The federal government can't investigate you on anything. Wow, that's what I call bullshit, Kent.
Justice system in America has become weaponized against President Trump. There's all kinds of articles about that. So
Oh yeah. I was gonna say, Kent, you searching, weaponized justice system and finding all these things and clipping them. It's funny if you type in shit like Kent Hovind is a fraud, Kent Hovind is stupid, Kent Hovind is wrong. That you get results like that. And if you search for stuff that talks about the truth of evolution, you'll get search results that show that. I guess that means those statements are true too, huh, Kent?
the American people have
Except they are, but that's independent of what search engines provide. It's the facts stand regardless of how one comes across them.
witnessed the previous administration engage in a systematic campaign against its perceived political opponents, weaponizing the legal force of numerous federal law enforcement agencies and the intelligence community against those perceived political opponents in the form of investigations, prosecutions, civil enforcement actions, and other related actions. These actions appear oriented more toward inflicting political pain than pursuing actual justice. That's all. They weren't interested in justice in my case. I'll show you. Many of these activities appear to be inconsistent with the Constitution and the laws of the United States, including those activities directed at parents protesting at school board.
Well, there's people like Hovind, but they don't care about the rights being violated of people left, right, and center by ICE. They don't care about corporations being able to basically rape the populace all they want. Nothing about that. Nope, don't care. But when it affects them, it's a problem.
Okay. Americans who spoke out against previous.
Also, I hadn't been watching much Hovind. I saw in Claude, who's in the chat. How you doing, Claude? Good to see you, buddy. That Kent apparently had Hispanic workers come over to do drywall. Oh wait, excuse me, I gotta say it in Hovindese. Some Mexicans came over and put up sheetrock. They were really good sheetrock. Sheetrock. Fucking moron. Genericized trademarks. The more you say genericized trademarks, the stupider you are, just straight up. And I get some of them are burned into us in current generation. We're more apt to say Google something. I'm not, but that's because I'm an anal asshole, which is redundant as all fuck. um, Anal asshole. How does that work? Oh fuck! I don't know why that's tickling me so much. Anyway, before this goes off the rails like it hasn't already, I know y'all love it when I just start laughing. Makes y'all laugh. It's human nature. Anyway, but people who do that shit, they'll say stuff like that, like sheetrock. It's like, no, that's a brand of drywall, Kent. It's a manufacturer. It's not an item in and of itself. Just like Xerox isn't a copier. God damn. Hell, there's people who would just call a computer an IBM for a while because of the mainframe industry and IBM dominating that. Died out, but it's the same thing. Just pisses me off. It's a sign of not knowing what you're talking about when you let branding actually take over to that degree, which ironically is not what companies want because they lose power over the name to a degree.
Previous administration's actions, and Americans were simply exercising their constitutionally protected rights. So,
oh yeah, like Alex Preddy was demonstrating his constitutionally protected right to be in possession of a firearm. But apparently that'll get you killed. But, actually killing people, going to a protest armed, being a right-wing fuckwit at 17 with a goddamned AR-15 and killing 2 people, that's absolutely fucking fine. And he's a goddamned hero. Oh, I'm sorry. Can we not talk about this kind of shit anymore? Are we supposed to move on from that like we're supposed to move on from the Epstein files? Nah, motherfucker. We're not forgetting this shit. And I'm going to keep bringing up every single thing that has happened in the past decades related to you right-wing monsters until you're an extinct species. I would want every element of you erased from history, but the problem is if we do that, everyone will forget, and then there will be a rise of your kind again. We tried to stop that with the Nazis by keeping objects, keeping up memories enough and acknowledgement that this shit actually happened so that it didn't come back. But we apparently failed, and they still came back.
Weaponization of the Justice Department, article on ABC. No, ANC. Okay. ABC has always been communist. Okay. CNN is Communist News Network, in case you don't know.
Wow.
Okay.
I can come up with fake ass acronyms. Also, you don't fucking know what communism is, Kent. Straight up, you have no clue. None of you fucking boomers do. Looking McCarthy era bullshit.
Trump, AG Pick Bondi questioned about potential weaponization of justice. Weaponization of the Justice Department from last January 15th, my birthday, okay, a year ago. Okay. Hearing before the Select Committee on the Weaponization of the Federal Government of the Committee of Judiciary, U.S. House of Representatives, 118th Congress, February 9th, 3 years ago on my birthday, they had a hearing about this. Let's see, University of Minnesota, weaponizing the Justice Department. Yep, they do it. Published date 2020. They've known about this for a long time. They did it to me 20 years ago. Locked me up in prison for 9 years for no crime whatsoever. And I don't dwell on this on my show, but I'm going to devote tonight. It's my birthday.
I don't dwell on this on my show, you fucking liar! That's all you do! Half of any given stream you do, Kent, is you whining and bitching about your own personal life. Just throw a pity party for Kent Hovind. A guy who fucked around and found out. Boo-hoo. Drop dead. I'm not going to devote time to it. Yes, you fucking do.
I'm going to do what I want. Okay? I think
It's my birthday. I'm going to do what I want, even though my actual birthday was back in January, but it's my spiritual birthday, so I'm just going to say it's my birthday again. Hovind.
ought to fix this, please, okay? Is the government being weaponized against you? Unequally applying the law.
And yes, regarding the Epstein still alive theories hanging out in Israel, I've seen that shit. Nothing would surprise me anymore. I don't think I can be surprised by anything anymore. I don't think so much of it, but if it was found to be an actual case and that fucker's still alive and he's hanging out in goddamn Israel, cool, we can prosecute him even more. Maybe with a guillotine. He can be the first one. Then we'll follow with Trump, and then we'll follow with Musk, and then we'll just keep on going. If all these people are found guilty of the crimes that it seems like they're connected to in the Epstein files, I must stress that proper justice, proper due process needs to be applied. So, all you lightweight snowflake ass right wingers, you understand it's not a threat. It's a if this then that conditional statement, which I know is way too complicated for your pea brains, but what I'm talking about is the actual just judicial process that your kind aren't allowing actual fucking citizens in this country. Or non-citizens. It doesn't fucking matter. If you're in the country, you deserve due process because those are human fucking rights. Of course, housing, food, education should be human rights, but apparently most of America says, nah, that's not the case. So, fucking hell. We're never going to get through this damn stream. We're 30 minutes in already and only 7 minutes into Hovind's video. Holy shit.
Subverts justice for all. I agree. Okay? Government agencies too often use their authority and power, appearing to unequally target groups and individuals based on their political and ideological views. People like me who believe the Bible, they don't like me. Below is a list of recent abuses of executive authority, and it lists them on that article here. Okay? So a guy named Matthew wrote me about a
Good point. Notice that Kent never complains about monopolies or corporate crime ever. Yeah.
year ago.
It's not a coincidence.
And said, well, Hovind, I heard you went to jail for being a tax protester. Let's see. I was troubled to find the government imprisoned you for not paying taxes.
And yes, Otaku, that pisses me off too. It's Aldi, not Aldi's. Kroger, not Kroger's. My friend said when I was a kid, he got a toy at Taco Bell's. Pissed me right off. I'm like 8 and I'm getting pissed at this stuff. It's like, it's just Taco Bell.
Let's see. Atheists and God haters have run with this tax protester claim now against me for 20 years. 9 while I was in prison and 10 since I've been out. They cannot win a debate defending their dumb evolution religion against me, and they're jealous of my popularity, so they look.
No, you have no popularity. And this has nothing to do with the completely fictional debate between reality and your crazy fairy tales. It has everything to do with you being a garbage human being. And you need to understand that people like me, people like Claude, people like Big Bad Mama, hell, people like AJ when he felt up to it, but he usually focused a little more on debunking and analyzing what you had to say in conjunction with a little riff here and there. I decided to go the Professor Dave route with outright, not giving a fuck. We do this stuff because you are a bad person. You are unpleasant. You're a threat to any community you are a part of. You are a danger to those around you through incompetence, through intentional disinformation, through the cult-like structure you have built around you. You're just plain shitty. And we focus on that. If you don't want to be called out for being a shitty person, stop being a shitty person. If you don't want to be called out for being wrong, stop being wrong. I don't understand why people can't figure this shit out. Don't want people to call you out for shit? Stop doing shit that are going to call you out for. How hard is it?
For something, anything, to try to make me look bad and divert attention away from their own silly belief that they're related to a strawberry and the whole universe.
Says this specifically to detach from how shitty of a person he is and instead try to push things back into the evolution creation debate. Don't talk about Hovind, only talk about the evolution creation debate, while Hovind proceeds to talk about everyone else's personal lives and bitch on and on his shows about his his podcast, on his shows about his fucking personal troubles, his shitty love life. All my wife divorced me. I never divorced anybody.
Came from a doc. I make fun of them. I'm going to continue till I die, and my videos are going to keep going. Won't do any good to shoot me. Videos are going to keep going.
No one wants to shoot you, you fucking idiot. Narcissistic ass megalomaniac fuck. Stop acting like that. God damn. I'm more likely to get assassinated than you are.
Okay. Back.
Of course, for me, it would actually be an assassination because I'm high profile and I'm important to the world. You are a relic of a bygone era.
December 16, 1773, a bunch of American patriots dumped a chest of black tea off the British boats into the Boston harbor. For the record, Ken Hovind is not a tax protester, never has been. I've said hundreds of times.
He is. Yes, we're going to take the criminal's opinion on whether they're a criminal or not.
If you owe a tax, you pay it. But our country was founded by those guys, and I'm glad they did it. You British over there lost a bunch of tea, didn't you? Too bad. Is Ken Hovind a tax protester? From Peter Riley, Forbes magazine. Okay.
Kent, do you understand, one, how tea was packaged in those days, which creates the required knowledge for condition 2, or which is the required knowledge for condition 2, how much actual value was done, was in the tea that was thrown over, how much economic damage it actually did, and the message it sent. Very calculated action. It seems so silly to think of today, but when you look at the actual financials of how can we hit them where it hurts, whoo-hoo, that created a problem. But you wouldn't care about the details, would you? Nope. It's not you. That's not important. It's just the fact they did it. So even if I was a tax protester, so were the people who founded the country. And it's like, maybe, Kent, maybe they're protesting of taxation without representation is seen historically as a noble fight, whereas yours is seen as petty, childish greed. You ever think about that? No, excuse me. I got to say language. You know. You ever think about that? No, no, it can't be that.
Article. After getting slaughtered in my 390 debates against evolutionists, they know they cannot prove me wrong on the issues I bring up. Like
Yeah, you did get slaughtered. Grammatically, that's what he said right here.
evolution, being dumb and the most dangerous religion in the world, so instead they go to ad hominem attacks.
See, for those who don't understand, again, the maggots and the Hovindites, the fact that they comes later in the statement means that there's ambiguity in who the subject is for after getting da 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 da. I forget the exact part of speech. I like genuinely love this stuff now, but I can't commit it to memory anymore, and I hated it when I was in school, so it never cemented. But that opening fragment is ambiguous. And so one has to presume that since my is in there, Hovind is talking about himself. He just had to throw the my in there. And so that clears up a layer of natural ambiguity in that, even if structurally the later stuff sounds like it should change it. And one can understand reading the whole statement that it does, but we're not going to give him that liberty.
Being dumb and the most dangerous religion in the world, so instead they go to ad hominem attacks. Accredited university invites a tax protester creationist to speak. Oh, it was horrible. I went to speak at a university because I'm a tax protester. This is the stuff I put up with President Trump, okay? Let's see. Hovind convicted 58 counts, November 06.
Man, Trump would sleep through this whole goddamn thing. Also, Kent, update your capture of the Wikipedia summary, because one of your Hovindites changed the picture to a slightly more normal one of you.
The counts here, and I'll go through more of that later. Wikipedia.
Oh, don't worry. I already went through all the counts.
And it is Wikipedia, okay? Kent Hovind, a fundamental...
No, it is Wikipedia, which is the word wiki. It's not really wiki, it's wiki. Wikipedia.
Evangelist and tax protester. Okay, let's see. This is from Kent Hovind, one of the ultimate grifters. Kent Hovind's mugshot. Unfortunately, creation science is not a crime. Fortunately, tax evasion is. I did not evade any taxes. But this is what they say about me constantly all over the internet. Kent Hovind, tax evasion. Okay. When the now...
Wow, you're going to bring up... Is that our friend Desert File? I'm pretty sure that is. You're going to bring up a video from, let's see, 16 years ago, Kent. Yeah.
Convicted felon, Reverend Hovind, appeared before the court. Kent Hovind is innocent, part 1. Introduction, part 2. Let's see, 9 years ago. Kent Hovind...
That shit's unwatchable and that URL no longer works, dumbass.
Is innocent.com. Somebody did an article on that. Cult leader.
Somebody did an article on that. You had repeatedly... You started with, I don't know anything about them, but, you know, then you eventually started promoting the content, saying you did watch it and that it was good. Now you don't know again?
Hovind. Who is he? He's a commune cult leader in Alabama. This stuff we put up with. Chris, you hear this downtown?
Wow, you put up with it. Wow, he has to put up with this, you guys. Wow. But remember, it's okay for Hovind to call people morons and say that things are the R word and all that jazz. Oh, yeah. Just upstanding citizen there, Kent.
The other, you talk to people about us? Not so much locally anymore. Oh, maybe they quieted down. Tribute to Kent Hovind.
No, they just walk away from you.
The living dinosaur. Okay, let's see.
Didn't Living Dinosaur pass away? Because if so, I think that's the person. R.I.P. Living Dinosaur. You were fucking awesome.
Are Kent Hovind's tax dollars funding teaching evolution? Yes, you guys don't understand. There's several types of taxes, okay? You pay tax on gasoline. You pay tax on real estate. You pay sales tax. There's lots of different taxes, okay?
Hey, Kent. Every one of those is a local tax. They're not federal, which is where your crimes were. Because IRS doesn't quite do things the same way as local municipalities, because generally we don't do activities in federal areas where they would ever tax in that same way, because that's just not how the federal government works. So this is apples to oranges, Kent.
The income tax does not go to the schools. So, crazy lawsuit. Kent Hovind sues the government for his prison sentence. He's a tax protester. Okay. Let's see. Conviction. Kent Hovind criminal case. Tax fraud. No, it was not. A good name is rather to be chosen.
Yes, it was.
A good name is better than precious ointment. I had a good name, President Trump. I was known all over the world by speaking on creation, defending the Bible, and I value my.
Why does everyone forget about the HMS Gatsby long before Boston's Little Party? I know nothing of this. I may have heard of it before, but it's not coming up in memory. So, I mean, it's just something culturally we've forgotten. So, if anyone's curious, look that up. I should try to remember to if it's not already mentioned in the comments later, because I am a little behind.
Good name. I've tried.
I just said I'm a small butt.
Hard for 57 years to please the Lord and serve Him, and these guys are painting me
The Lord to please, getting on his knees, Hovind.
with a wicked brush, and it's not true. Florida man gets his Christian dinosaur park seized by the feds.
Hey, yep.
In the video, Kent Hovind has been battling the IRS for years not to pay taxes. No, it's not. I pay whatever I owe. Always have. Matthew, so I thank you for your question. I think it's way past time I give a thorough answer. Since I moved to Lenox April
But you already did, moron, and Trump didn't care, so why are you trying again?
2016,
You want to slob on Hovind's knob?
some people have spread rumors that I'm a tax protester. Okay? Other bad labels they stick on me without knowing the truth.
Thank you, Laura. That's a hanging participle. Don't do hanging participles. And I'm sure if you read Zadara.com, my amazing blog where I've been writing for nearly a decade now, technically over a decade, but, well, yeah, it's been a decade now. Shit. Yeah, it's been over a decade. Anyway, getting old, you guys. You'll find a lot of grammatical abortions in there. But, my writing style has some panache to it, so you might enjoy it.
These questions, these rumors prompted your question, so thank you. Living in a small community, everybody knows what everybody else is doing. Nobody knows what they're supposed to be doing, but they know what everybody else is doing. Okay. We see many examples in God's word where innocent people were falsely accused.
Yes, talk shit about the people around you. Smart move, Kent. Let's see how that plays out for you.
Jesus did not give a defense because he came to take our sins. But many famous Christians did defend themselves when they were falsely accused. The Sixth Amendment to our Constitution says, we have the right to hear the charges against us and face our accusers and give a defense. Paul said in Acts 4:24, neither found they me in the temple disputing, neither raising the people, neither in the synagogues, neither can they prove the things they accuse me now. Go, Paul, defend yourself, okay? In Acts 25, when he was come, the Jews which came down from Jerusalem stood round about and laid many and grievous complaints against Paul that they could not prove. He answered for himself, neither against the law of the Jews, neither against the temple, nor yet against Caesar have I offended. Paul gave a defense. He didn't do anything wrong. The Lord said to Satan, have you considered my servant Job? There's nobody like him. Job's wife said, do you still retain your integrity? You still think you didn't do anything wrong, Job? Job spent 35 chapters, his friends telling
Justin, I got that noted. I'll look it up whenever we finally get done with this monster stream.
him, you must have done something wrong, Job, or this wouldn't have happened. Read the book of Job. God forbid that I should justify you. Till I die, I will not remove mine integrity. Job maintained his integrity to the end, and he was right. Okay? Let me be weighed in an even balance that God may know mine integrity. Read the book of Job, okay? So since moving to Lenox, we have brought millions of dollars of revenue into the area.
Wait, what was that, Kent? You moved to Linux. Then why are you still having so much trouble with Windows? You should instead be unable to operate your computer because using Linux requires having a goddamn brain.
With all the building we've done. Over 50,000.
And being able to type worth the damned. Let me tell you, Kent, you may think it's easy, but sudo apt install Firefox? You would have a hard time with that, especially remembering your password. Is it Jesus?
Visitors we've had from all 50 states and over 80 foreign countries. We've seen thousands of changed
as opposed to the 80 domestic countries.
lives and over 280 baptized in our lake. But the rumors, the gossip, and the slander persist, calling us a cult. In answer to your question, Matthew, this phase of my life starts with this woman, Margaret Casey Rogers. She was the judge in the case down there in Pensacola, federal judge.
Woo!
Margaret Casey Rogers, born in Pensacola in, went to the U.S. Army, 1985. You can read about her bio here. She was nominated by President Bush in 2003, 3 years before my case, to go on to be a federal judge. There's a complaints board about judges. You can type in complaints board, resolving since 2004.
Yes, I'll just type in the exact text from their website logo iconography. Yep, that's totally how the internet works.
Margaret Casey Rogers, review. Fraud warning. Beware of Judge Margaret Casey Rogers. I didn't write none of this. I'm just showing you what they say about her, okay?
Who's this they, Kent? Are they on the internet with us right now? Or are they people who also fucked around and found out and decided they wanted to be little whiny bitches about it?
She has a bizarre individual who's completely unethical and biased in her rulings. Judge Rogers should be investigated and, when found guilty, confined to prison. That's what the complaint board said. This woman is a completely unfit person to be a judge. She's biased against Christians and in favor of evildoers, and her record shows. Judge Rogers is paid by taxpayers and yet is a public enemy. Beware of her.
Oh yeah, the nature of these comments tells you everything you need to know.
To show how deranged Margaret Casey Rogers is, she claimed Pastor Kent Hovind's supposed offenses were worse than a rapist. Judge
Oh, funny. That's the exact same lie that you've been touting forever when the comment was actually made by Eric.
Margaret Casey Rogers sentenced Pastor to many years in prison for what doesn't even constitute a crime, and yet is on record for saying Hovind is worse than a rapist. She illegally had this removed from the court transcript. 7 U.S. citizens
No, she didn't. That's not how transcripts work, dumbass.
heard her say,
But, then again, who fucking knows with the way the Epstein files are? But what do I know? I'm just some person who so far hasn't spent 9.5 years in federal prison for tax fraud, and don't intend to. And by that, I mean I'm not committing any tax fraud. I paid extra to make sure my 1099 from Google was in my returns and let the system process them. Because I'm lazy. And I go online to do my taxes. And you got to pay for that shit. And it turns out it didn't affect my taxes one way or the other. But I ended up losing money to ensure that I had done everything on the up and up. Knowing good and goddamn well that I could have filed, not put in that 1099, and had no issue. Because it's a level far below what the government cares about. But I chose to do the right fucking thing. Because even with me having lost all fucking faith in this country, I'm not gonna just say fuck it like that. And that's the specific words, like that.
this and have filed affidavits that they heard her say it. This is from freekenthovind.com, okay?
Oh, so now you're no longer on the website where people criticize judges. Okay.
Let's see. Anti-Christian judge presiding over Kent Hovind Case Watch. Full video created by Tiger Dan. 20 shocking attacks on Kent that North Korea would welcome. In 2006.
Oh, shout out to the DPRK. Not like anyone from there will watch this. Although, in the odd event Kim Jong-un happens to be watching YouTube and happens to come across and happens to watch this. Hi, can I come visit sometime? Seriously, I want to hang out. I suck at basketball, but maybe I can learn from the master, right? We can play Halo. I don't know if he likes Halo, but we can play the hell out of that.
A government SWAT team raided Kent Hovind's Creation Science Ministry. Kent and his wife Jo got arrested at gunpoint. Jo was dragged out of bed and not allowed to get dressed. She was taken down to the courthouse in her nightgown. This violent method of arresting
Hey, Kent. It's funny. It's all the shit you made up.
suspect is usually reserved for hardcore gang-related activity.
Really should see if we can file a FOIA request, and if there were, I mean, it was so relatively early. I don't know if the federal agents would be wearing body cams or anything, but actually request the details of that supposed raid or whatever interactions happened with regard to Hovind's arrest, just to put to rest this idea, because that'd be great stuff to put up as a public service. Like, here's the actual footage. Here's what actually happened. Just what Kent says is wrong. And you know what, Kent? Even if they fucking did that, so fucking what? Get the fuck over it. The amount of shit you validate our government doing now to people far more innocent than you, it doesn't compare. So fuck off. We have literal goddamn concentration camps in this country. And no, I'm not being hyperbolic. By definition, if you take a lot of people and focus them into a particular spot that would be a camp for such, it is a concentration camp because you are concentrating this particular group. Technically speaking, prisons are concentration camps. Jails are concentration camps, technically speaking, but we think of them a little differently. That being said, we think of those as valid versus concentration camps being just fuck it, we're putting them in here just because. Which isn't the first time America did that. Don't forget the Japanese diaspora during World War II, especially in California. And one can argue the Native American reservations were most definitely predecessors to the modernized construct of it. But where was I? Oh, I forget where I was going. I just know where I wish to be, which is done with this video. Oh yeah, the country's being run by fucking monsters, and people are being deprived of basic rights constantly, if not their fucking lives. But you're gonna play this game right now and act like that what they supposedly did to you and Joe was so horrible. Piss off with that, Kent. By the way, do I need to mention Epstein files? Trump mentioned more times than God and Jesus combined are mentioned in the Bible. Yeah, the president is a pedophile piece of shit at best.
It was disproportionate and totally over the top display of force.
Yes, but what happened to Renee and Alex was totally acceptable, and the other people who I feel so terrible that I can't remember their names. Oh, it hurts me. I really need to work on that. But God, I'd be memorizing a list that's just going to keep growing, sadly. Not that I'm saying that's not a reason to. I just, ugh. It's only so much my brain can process.
Were both thrown in prison. Joe got released from jail a few years ago, but as of February 2015, Kent maintains his innocence behind bars.
11-year-old fucking article there. Good job, Kent.
Important fact showing why Pastor Hovind's conviction is illegal. My wife, Jo, and I, virgins on our honeymoon, married for 42 years.
There we go. Claude brought it up earlier, and there he goes. He has to say it again. Kent, that is disturbing as all fuck to bring that up in any context, let alone when you're trying to send an open letter to the fucking president. By the way, Kent, I mean, maybe you're trying to say that, you know, Joe's off market, that she's used goods. Trump wouldn't be interested in anything like that. She's even then looks to be about 4 or 5 times the age that he's even remotely interested in. Possibly up to 10 times the age. I don't know. What is she here? In her early 20s? Yeah, sounds about right. I mean, I'm not sure Trump and them like people into the double digits. So, yeah.
Terrorized by what happened. My first day home from prison, she divorced me. President Trump, they just
no, that's not how that panned out, Kent, and directly contradicts stuff you've said previously.
destroyed a perfectly good family, a perfectly good marriage. Please, fix this, okay?
Yeah, Beatty having done a purge really sucks, but, you know, I just trust that he did it for a good reason. And there is what the Internet Archive has God, sorry, brain moment. Internet Archive should have decent archives of stuff. And yeah, John Fishburne was a Hovind supporter who took notes of the trial. Even John rejects Hovind's claims. Yeah. So that should tell you plenty.
Let's see. Ever wonder why Kent Hovind is in prison? Margaret Casey Rogers is quite an interesting character. She has a reputation of issuing heavy-handed justice
And yes, saying gang-related activity, definitely racially charged.
toward Christians. She received national attention in 2009 when she tried to send 2 Christian school teachers to prison for praying over their lunch.
No, I forget the details, but that's not how that story went at all.
This is in
But
the
of course, that's the way you idiots want to put stuff, because you just lie about everything.
Bible Belt, Pensacola, Pace, Florida. She said there'll be no prayers in my town or religion. Washington Times ran an article about it. Lawmakers back officials facing jail for prayer. School prayer charges stir protests. Students, teachers, and local pastors are protesting over a court case involving a northern Florida school principal and an athletic director who are facing criminal charges and 6 months in jail because they offered prayer over their meal. I'm serious. I was in prison when this happened. I heard about it. What's going on? Guys are going nuts. Okay? There have been yard signs.
Really, Kent? You're telling me people in a random federal prison were all going nuts over this random ruling? Really?
T-shirts, mass student protests. Pace High School principal Frank Lay. I talked to him a couple of months ago. I'm going to get him to come up here and get on my show sometime. Okay, he's still principal down there. School athletic director Robert Friedman will go to trial September 17th at a federal district court in Pensacola for breaching the conditions of a lawsuit settlement reached.
Here's Kent coming up to the point, which is what Claude had brought up just before we got to this. This is a slightly older comment from Claude. Hovind claims the judge also convicted 2 guys for praying in school. The reason was they broke a legal agreement not to pray in schools. There's a big difference. Yep.
Last year with the ACLU, the American Communist Lawyers Union. Okay.
Ooh, I want communist lawyers. Can I have the corpse of Vladimir Lenin represent me? Must crush capitalism.
The prosecution.
Like, Lenin is my goddamn... Like, if you have spirit animals and you have spirit humans, Lenin is my spirit human. Not a hero, per se, but... Yeah. Older I get, the more I am just like, goddamn, man. Goddamn, you were right.
Of Kent Hovind was led by Michelle Heldmeyer, U.S. Attorney J.D. Roy Atchison, Assistant U.S. Attorney. In 1993, Judge Kreidler committed suicide when he was caught and charged with the crime of purchasing illegal pornographic materials, child porn. The following year...
Yeah. Hey, Kent, about that. Epstein files. Donald Trump. Bush Sr. as well. Bill Clinton. All in there. Pretty deep. Fuck them all. Do you really want to play this card? Also, seriously, this dude had very little to do with your case, and everyone has stressed that in interacting with you on this.
Here, Michelle Heldmeyer, now U.S. Attorney, made national news when it was found that her husband, Joseph Heldmeyer, was on the same pornographic mailing list as the judge. He was never prosecuted. Why? Maybe because his wife's the U.S. Attorney? I don't know. Just a few days after Kent Hovind's trial...
Yes, claims of corruption when it's someone you don't like, and you're just like, yep, it's corruption. But when it's so blatantly obvious to the world, but it happens to be someone you do like, you just go, no, not happening. Trump's good. Trump's the man.
Assistant U.S. Attorney John David Roy Atchison was caught, arrested, and jailed for attempting to rape a 5-year-old. President Trump, these are the people that came after me.
And yes, Claude brings up there's very well-known audio, jailhouse call audio of Joe talking to Kent, and she sounds scared as fuck even talking to him. He's using manipulative behavior. His voice tone is that of someone trying to gaslight somebody. And she says point blank, I don't believe you changed. And no, he hadn't. Why would he?
Trial, Margaret Casey Rogers, the presiding judge, said Kent Hovind's crime is worse than rape. Did the judge know the prosecutor was a rapist? appeal the case, Kent paid $6,000 for a full court transcript. A court transcript is an unedited copy of every word spoken in the courtroom. To be valid, the appeal had to be filed within 12 months. The documents were held back for 16 months, making Kent miss the deadline for appealing his own case. 4
I highly doubt that's how any of that works.
months after the
Or how it happened.
deadline, too late to file an appeal, Kent finally received the transcript, and somebody had tampered with it, removing the judge's words, worse than rape. President Trump, I have a suspicion who did that. I'd like you guys to investigate and find out, and let them face some justice. 8 attendees of the court have signed affidavits. There were 7 at first. I think there's 8 now. How many all heard the judge say that, okay? They heard her declare that Ken Hovind's crime was worse than rape. Whoever tampered with the court transcript is not known, but that fact alone is enough to overturn the case. And what hideous, monstrous crime deserves the title worse than rape? Structuring. Not murder, not genocide, no, structuring. I never heard the word. I didn't know what it was. When they arrested me, what am I being arrested for? Structuring. What is that? I didn't know. That's withdrawing any amount of your own money from your own bank. I'm not making this up. If you withdraw money from your bank...
Here we go. He's going to twist the definitions and concepts behind the crime of structuring to... Well, you hear him saying what he's trying to make people think that it is. No, Kent, that's not how that works. Nate Brody, I believe was dude's name, in the video exchange between you and Aaron Ra, the little debate y'all had that never technically ended, but you're too incompetent to keep it up, because he was fucking stomping you, explained in very great detail what the crime was, how what you did applied, and, simplified the actual judicial filing against you for the average layperson to understand.
More than twice.
I've heavily considered excerpting that particular bit of stuff and putting it on my channel independently, but I also don't want to step on Aaron's heels. But it is buried in a nondescript video that, unless you happen to be wanting to watch the series, you might not catch to. So it ends up getting lost by the fact that it's not its own thing. So I may still do that.
Within the last 10 years, you're guilty of structuring. He served 8 years in prison for a nonsense made-up crime. Turned out to be 9 years. To recap, Assistant U.S. Attorney Kent, who prosecuted Kent, was a rapist. The judge allegedly said his crime was worse than a rapist. The prosecutor found guilty of rape. Then the judge's statements about rape got removed from the court transcript. And those transcripts were finally delivered to Kent 4 months.
Just in its multiple, I'm going to be honest, random ass people producing content related to this stuff. I actually can't talk about what the supposed context is here. It's past the limits of what I'll discuss in the channel. I need to look deeper into it, but the Epstein files are a fucking mess to go through intentionally.
Past the deadline. That's only half of it. 2 juries were dismissed before the guilty verdict was made. Can you do that? Just keep jury shopping until you get them? Isn't that double jeopardy, triple jeopardy?
Oh, but you're trying to talk about jury nullification all the time. Huh? And no, it's not double jeopardy, Kent. It's not how that works. You do not understand law at all, which is weird given the amount of time you've been involved with the legal process. But of course, I guess as a person being complained against and not someone who actively works in the judicial system for the benefit of the populace, yeah.
Ken has been moved around from prison 23 times in 8 years. They wrote this while I was in prison. Turned out they moved
No one cares how many times you've been moved. I don't give a fuck, Kent.
me 32 times altogether. Some say they're trying to get him killed, because the more you move a prisoner, the more likely they are to share a cell with a violent inmate.
Here's an idea. They could have just changed who you're with and immediately put you with somebody just to get you going. This is weird. This all-powerful they who can do everything and anything somehow can't just make this problem disappear. They have to go through convoluted ways of hoping it happens rather than just making it happen. The same they who make everything else just happen whenever the hell they want, exactly how they want it to be. Amazes me that these people can tie their own fucking shoes.
I was on the George Janko show about, 3 months ago. He asked me about that. I told him, you can watch that show if you want. Let's see.
Well, you told him, you can watch our show if you want. We'll eventually get to that in Janko. God, there's like 3 times the stupid there.
Allegedly, IRS agent Scott Schneider received over $42,000 from the ministry safe. No allegedly to it. He did. And then he created a tax bill for the exact amount, to the penny. Counted all the money in the safe, made up a bill for that amount, took the money. That guy needs to go to prison, President Trump. Okay?
Really? Citation needed.
Judge Rogers has a track record of handing out unjust, outrageous rulings against Bible believers. She issued a contempt order against 2 school teachers for praying before eating their food. Washington Times.
You just had read earlier that it was because of violation of an agreement. It was unrelated to the food thing, as best I can tell. It doesn't even fucking matter. Whatever the hell the agreement was, that's its own separate context. They violated that. I would say, do you really think the people who watch you are that stupid that they're not going to notice that when you slip up like this? But yeah, they are that stupid. Because if they weren't, they wouldn't follow your ass.
Reported that over 60 congressmen stepped in to show support for the teachers facing jail time. That the judge was completely out of line, ruling against the First Amendment Constitution rights. She ought to have been dismissed as a judge at that point, but the case got settled out of court, and the judge is still in office and up for promotion, the last I heard. The same Judge Rogers, who allegedly misdirected the jury on the first trial, seems to have delayed the paperwork to stop the appeal, and may have ordered the tampering with court transcripts. Has been selected to be the new judge. So if I did go back to trial in her court, it'd be her again. What's my chances there, President Trump? Okay. Let's see. 2011. A writ of coram nobis is Latin, which means is intended to correct a final judgment in the same court. I'm not going to go back there. There's no statute of limitations on fraud. For about $6,000, we could file a writ of coram nobis in this case. I devote my time.
Then fucking do it instead of paying Lightcast for your stupid ass Ken Hovind TV.
To preaching and teaching God's word. I don't waste time on corrupt.
You know why you won't fucking do it? Because you know you've got nothing. Nothing. You don't. You know what you fucking did. You're just a lying piece of shit. Grifting for whatever money people give you. Oh, poor Hovind. Let's give him $50, woo.
Politics. But if you want to help a legal team file one, please let me know, okay? A coordinated effort.
Why don't you just file it pro se, Kent, like you do everything else?
Between the police force who authorized the SWAT team, the IRS agent who invented tax bills, the prosecutor who was a convicted felon, and the judge with a track record of issuing heavy-handed anti-Christian rulings.
Also, Kent, it would be an FBI force that would go in. If it really was such a big compound raid, there would have been, they may have enlisted local support as well. But that would have needed to have been one hell of an operation, Waco plus scale. Also, Kent, if there's this big of a thing at 29 Cummings Road, there'd be evidence of it. People would have filmed this. All your little cult members all up and down the street would have recorded it, man. Like, come on, there's no evidence of this. You make it, people forget where you lived at the time. Because that's the address, 29 Cummings. It's where Eric does his shit from. Joe still fucking lives there. It's like, dude, come on.
Requires Congress to investigate. Because unsound, unsafe, rough justice will continue to infect the system. Unless people are made aware. President Trump, you know about this more than anybody. Step on them, okay? While in prison...
Gotta have a tyrannical oligarch running the country. just do shit just because Hovind says so. Yeah, that's not oppression.
Hovind has highlighted the fact that judges are allowed to invest in the prison system. I wrote a book on that, President Trump, called The Kennel. I did not know till I got to prison and did some studying. Judges, congressmen, police are allowed to own stock in the prison system. The longer they lock people up, the more money they make on their investment. Somebody ought to be shot for that, okay? Because while prison...
So what does this have to do with Jeebus Crispy again, Kent?
Prisons are full. The companies running those prisons will be in profit. Okay? There's all kinds of things. Who supplies the food, the transportation, the clothing, blah, blah, blah. It's a conflict of interest for a judge to profit from handing out longer sentences. They should be banned from investing in prison-related stock. Internet petition with 19,000 signatures to free Kent Hovind was removed from the internet. We know who has the petition, but he won't release it.
Who has the petition? Kent, a change.org petition has precisely fuck all value. And I mean, legally, it has fuck all value. People can look at it and think, huh, maybe I should consider this. But that's if it's worth a damn to them. And shit like that isn't, buddy. So, you know who would have taken it down? Change.org. For whatever reasons they personally had. One didn't just, come up with Snidely Whiplash and just take the thing and go over here with it and stick it in a vault somewhere. No. That's not how that works. And that document, if it exists as a document, it's just a bunch of data digitally, would have no bearing on anything regarding your case other than saying 1900, supposedly 1900, dumbasses think that you didn't do the shit that you obviously did. How does this fucker think the universe works? Oh, right, he's a creationist.
A link to the new petition can be found here. So the number one mind-blowing thing that happened to Kent Hovind is he's now facing a further 100 years in prison. While I was in prison, they seized the ministry property in Pensacola, four properties we had down there. I just mailed in a letter, a lis pendens, litigation's pending, say, look, we're not done fighting this yet. You can't sell that property. They were going to give me 100
The hell they can't.
years in prison for mail fraud, for mailing a letter to the court.
Highly doubt that.
That's a weaponized Justice Department, President Trump. Fix it. Please, please fix it. The government appears to be selling off his assets and the property is still in dispute. Lis pendens informs any buyers there's a legal dispute. Don't buy these houses. They're under dispute. Once again, they made up a ridiculous crime of mail fraud. The anti-Christian bias, Judge Rogers, who said creation evangelist Hovind committed a crime worse than rape, is on notice. Detractors have called Kent Hovind a liar over claims Judge Rogers supposedly altered the transcript to hide her anti-Christian bias. Well, there are 7 or 8 affidavits saying they heard her say that. We have proof Judge Rogers' claim is worse than rape claim is true. The rape accusation is not in the transcript. She should be impeached immediately. Kent Hovind should be a free man with a clean record. The IRS, the DOJ, the public school system do not have a problem hiring mentally unstable sexual deviants who thirst for lust. Check out the story behind the sexual deviants and pedophiles who imprison Hovind.
What about the sexual deviants and pedophiles who run the goddamn country, huh? Like Donald Trump.
Seems the nepotist bureaucrats enjoy appointing judges to positions
child molesters like Donald Trump.
Power who can't distinguish the line between justice, rape, and law. Okay. Kent Hovind got average sentencing length I got 101 months to life in prison for structuring. I'll show you in a minute. For rape, you get 90.
Really? Will you show us the exact documents? Will you show us all of the judicial paperwork? All the documents pertaining to your case? Because you seem really hell-bent on having access to all that, having records of everything, but you never actually show it. That's the funny thing.
6 months, for robbery 83 months, aggravated assault 54 months. IRS finally admits and will enforce policing churches and imprisoning what they deem as political dissidents like Hitler, SS Gestapo.
Oh, yes, but labeling the ad hoc group Antifa as terrorists is totally fine. Gunning down, normal peaceful Americans in the streets because they happen to be anywhere near where ICE is doing anything, that's perfectly fine. Let's see, throwing citizens in the concentration camps is absolutely fine. Yeah. Yep. Let's see. Shitting yourself in a news broadcast. I mean, that's not what the Nazis did. Not that I'm aware of. And if they did, I mean, Hitler had massive flatulence due to upset stomach combined with his vegan diet, making him extremely gassy. But I don't think Hitler ever shit himself in the middle of a press conference and then had to hurry everybody out. So that's one thing Hitler has on Trump. Just saying.
Criminals prosecuting Kent Hovind, Wake Up America. Pamela Marsh, Tiffany Eggers, silence the jury and evidence.
Boy, Kent, you really need to look at some of the articles on Zadara.com, which discuss you and other people of your ilk in much further detail. And you might find those, the citations brought up there, to be pretty fascinating.
There's all kinds of stuff on different websites.
You know what that is right there? That is what's known as a stress sigh. I do it slightly. It's a trait common to people on the spectrum, which is another subtle reason why I suspect Kent is very much on the autism spectrum to some degree. In conjunction with the way he repeats himself, the way he hyper focuses, the way he's socially inept, all traits I can recognize. I know about the stress side because the most famous user of that is a straight up trademark of them happens to be Chris Chan. When I hear that, I immediately hear Chris Chan in Hovind. Just 100% exact same.
About this, President Trump. I have on the phone with me.
I note constantly saying President Trump like he's trying to just give him a rim job all while he does this. And you're not showing on the phone, Kent? Who the fuck is it going to be? Is it going to be that Urish guy again? Because holy fuck, it wouldn't surprise me if it's a Urish guy for no fucking reason.
I think he's still there. A man who did 18 months research. I've known him for many, many years. Godly man, loves the Lord, okay? He said, after 18 months of research, he said, Kent, you did not break any laws at all. The government broke 100 laws to put you in prison.
No, that's not how any of that worked. And of course, the dude who thinks you're great is going to say, yeah, you didn't do anything wrong.
They charged me with structuring. Okay, you still there, brother?
Yes, indeed.
Okay. Any comment?
Wow, can't even fucking get. So one, can't even fucking get him onto into Restream. Two, they've been streaming for 26 minutes right now, and that man's been sitting there on the phone the entire goddamn time, or at least a reasonable amount of it. What the hell? But hey, let's hear who this random ass person is who's just going to say whatever they say. No idea what their credentials are. No idea who they are. Why aren't they showing their face, Kent? Huh?
So far on what I've said?
No, it's all accurate. The first 12 counts were 4 quarters for over 3 years. For 3 years, that was alleged that you did 2 things, and I was amazed that your lawyer didn't catch this. But they put in the language of your original indictment things so that they would guarantee a conviction. One thing they accused you of was withholding but failing to turn over the tax that was withheld, and they also accused you of failing to withhold. Well, now, which is it?
Oh, yeah, funny. That's the exact thing Hovind's been saying forever.
And so your attorney did not catch that.
Oh,
Secondly,
maybe he did, and I think he was on the take the whole time. I'll show that in a minute.
Oh, yes, it's conspiracy. Yes.
Brother, the actual charges, and I'll let you comment on those.
Oh, don't worry. You don't have to show. I did a whole stream on it. I provided plenty of comments. You don't need this guy. Just watch my video on it.
But you did a lot of investigation on Margaret Casey Rogers and these people who came after me.
And I and great many others have done a lot of research on this one Kent E. Hovind. Yeah.
Did I break any laws at all, tax laws or otherwise?
Yes.
you did.
You probably broke a multitude of laws that they never caught you on. Consider yourself lucky with what you got, Kent. Also, it amazes me that a crime like that will only get you, 10 years. But a guy caught with a dime bag can spend the rest of his life in prison. It's just no sense.
Did not break one single law, and I can prove it. And I did prove it in the documents that I gathered and put online at kidhovindinnocent.com originally, and now I think it's under .net. But
Oh, what's wrong? Couldn't afford to keep up the .com? How do you... Unless you seriously have something fuck up in your life, how do you lose a domain name like that? Seriously.
you can also order an...
I should know. I own way too many domain names as is. I'm sick of paying $20 every other month for a random ass domain.
Entire set from Dinosaur Adventureland.
You go on our website, drdino.com, get the Kent Hovind is Innocent series. Do I have it here?
Now, it's long and it's dry because it's the law, but if somebody wants...
No, it's long and it's dry because you're fucking incompetent. You just ramble on in multiple takes, just plastered into a DVD length video multiple times. It's unwatchable in every respect. The audio's terrible, the visuals are a joke, there's no pacing, there's no structure, there's no nothing.
To dig, scuba dive all the way to the bottom of the ocean in this and swim with me as I let out, it's there. And here's my claim, Kent. There's not a single person that can prove contrary to what I laid out there.
No, Kent. No, Kent. No, fuckface. You would need to prove the validity of your claim since you're making a positive claim here. And no, that's not how that works. Also, you're not a fucking lawyer. You don't have any formal training in this stuff, and your idiotic, already biased layperson reading of things does not contradict the nature of the judicial system that we have, the skills of varying lawyers, and the nature of actual judicial rulings, which I may not agree with in many respects. And honestly, I don't agree with in Hovind's case. I think his punishment should have been far worse. But it is what it is. And the system, I'm pretty sure, rightfully found him guilty because I'm pretty damn sure he was guilty. The fact that he's so bitter over this to this day, and this way of not just admitting it and just moving on with his life, tells me he knows he fucking did it. And he's just pissed he got caught.
There's plenty of people who want to do the ad hominem attacks against you, me, and anybody else,
which are completely irrelevant to his guilt or innocence. So fuck off with that, moron.
But that proves the point. When they're willing to do the ad hominem attacks, it proves that they don't have an answer to what I provided. And it's really not what I say that matters. What I did was I went to the appeals...
So wait. Oh yeah, there she is, Brady Byram? Yeah, because Brady Byram is the Kent Hovind is Innocent. So this is the other pedophile Kent is friends with. Yeah, let's just verify I'm not saying something wrong. Brady Byram. This is supposed to be Brady Byram. Brady Byram was also convicted of child sexual assault in the same way that Christopher Link Jones was. Correct? Let me know, chat.
Court where the appeals courts reverse a case. I went to the reversible errors of these issues, and what I found was, originally I found the Rennis case, or I think I was corrected there, and once I found the Rennis case referred back to a previous case. So I went and looked that case up, and I read it word for word, and that one referred back to a couple of cases. So I kept referring backwards in historical time.
Okay, are we saying Brady Byram was not convicted? Because if so, okay, I wish to stress that, if that is the case. I've heard multiple accounts on a lot of things.
To find out where this vein of truth was coming from. And it took me all the way back to 1960, where the Supreme Court originally had ruled that not only must statutes have matching enforcement regulations to be enforceable, but those regulations must apply in its actual language, the applicability of the language.
Right.
And now there's an exception to that, a very small exception.
Okay, so for clarification's sake from my audience, so that no one claims I'm lying or slandering or libeling anybody, we had Justin say not convicted, followed up by Polyphonic stressing Brady was not convicted. His son wrote a letter telling that his dad had molested his cousins, followed up with Polyphonics adding his whole family did disown him, and Justin popping back in saying the family kept it to themselves. So thank you for that clarification. And I would hope anyone Hovindites watching this understand that we just got clarification on these things. I made no hard claim one way or the other because these are some suit happy crazy motherfuckers. I don't want to deal with their bullshit. It's stupid. It's a waste of everybody's fucking time. So okay, so Kent hangs out with a convicted child molester and an alleged child molester who has not been convicted, and so yeah. All right.
And that is if the federal statute has a clause within it that says no enforcement regulations
Okay, it's either Brady or John Paul Hansen talking, so we don't even know who this is for sure.
are necessary for the implementation of this statute. If it has that clause, then no regulations are required. But if it doesn't have that clause, then regulations are required according to the cases that I laid out. That must.
Oh, and Claude stressing that Brady wasn't convicted, but Kent said he was guilty of offensive against one of his own children, which could have easily been a slip up. He could have been mixing it with Chris Jones. He could have been blending them all together. Who the fuck knows? Kent's an idiot. So yeah, don't get mad at me. Get mad at Kent for saying it and planting the seed that Brady had an issue. This is why I love my audience. They know so much stuff that I don't. They've been in different spheres of the Hovind verse, or they can remember things that I don't. So nice. They're all part of a big team.
Be there. So I did a complete search on all of the statutes accused against you. A few of them had regulations, but most of them did not. Of the ones that had regulations, they did not apply to what you were accused of.
Totally did.
Totally did not apply.
Well, before you go any further, hang on. Before you go any further, let me go ahead and read the three things I was charged with: 12 counts of one charge, 45 counts of another one, and one count of three different topics. Let me read them, and then you bring in your comments on that. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. Put that back up to structuring, also known as smurfing, is the practice of breaking up a large financial transaction into smaller transactions to avoid scrutiny by regulators and law enforcement. The smaller
He said scrutiny. It's scrutiny, you illiterate prick.
transactions are executed in an amount below some statutory limit that normally does not require a financial institution to file a report. Let me translate that, my kind of language. They said if you take
Your deceptive language, but go ahead, Kent.
out more than $10,000 of your bank, the bank has to fill out a form. So the drug dealers who deal in cash all the time didn't want to have any forms filled out on them, so they would go in the morning and take out $9,500 under the limit and go in the afternoon and get $9,500. So then Congress...
You know, Kent, drug dealers don't really deal with banks. You just talked about them dealing with cash. They're not going to put cash in the bank. You know, random Joe who just works, part-time at fucking Costco stocking, throwing $9.5K in the bank or out of the bank on the reg is going to raise some suspicion. That does happen. Just having too much money for your class gets you put on some radar. So they wouldn't be doing this. This law was set up as one of the few set up to try to actually catch fuckers like you doing exactly what you did.
Passed another law that said if you have two transactions in one day that equal more than 10, but each one is less than 10, you have structured your transaction to evade the reporting requirement. That law was never promulgated. I couldn't have broken the law. There was no law. I'll show you that in a minute. And you can go ahead.
Totally is a law, Kent, and we saw the exact claims against you and saw where everything followed a perfect pattern of structuring. Because why would you need to pull out multiple $9.5 and $9.6 thousand transactions? Sometimes every other day, sometimes days in a row. One of them even on September 11th, 2001. Yes, that day. That really stuck with me. Unless you were trying to avoid the reporting. It's so obvious. It isn't like you just did this one time. It was constant.
Let me jump in here and clarify. They do have statutes regarding the taking out of or depositing, either one, in or out, or moving from, let's say, checking to savings or savings to checking. of
Moving your own money is irrelevant internally.
more than 10,000. But it
Now, banks generally don't like you pulling money out of savings, but that's because that money doesn't really exist. Checking is its own kind of thing because you're able to get a hold of that, but the savings, they don't like you pulling from that because they reinvest that shit. So the money physically doesn't exist, and they kind of make profits off of it. It's a convoluted ass thing, or at least it's a conspiracy that I hold to. I don't fucking know for sure. But when my ex was wondering why, yeah, was wondering why Bank of America really tried to make it hard for her to pull out some savings when she needed to over a period of time. Yeah, I had heard about that being a thing, and it added up. So I've kind of stuck with that ever since. Banks suck. Saying this, I've had the same bank account for almost 20 years now.
was based upon, and is still based upon, the presumed pretended fact. It's really not a fact, but it's based upon.
Tigre, this is Hovind's second attempt at an open letter to Donald Trump. He tried the one February 1st of last year that got nothing, so he decided on February 9th he'd do it again. And we're right here in the middle of it, where he's trying to say that all his conviction, his crime that he already did the time for, never happened, that he was falsely imprisoned, and he wants a pardon for something he's already done the time for, when a pardon would also be an admission of guilt, and is just running the conspiracy gamut. So yeah.
On this concept of there must be a report generated. What actually happened is this: back in the early 70s, when the drug dealers were traveling around in the streets or wherever, and they were carrying enough cash to buy 4 automobiles or more. Okay, so back in the day,
Well, I mean, you can buy a metric fuck ton of automobiles if they are of no value.
you could buy 4 automobiles for $10,000, $2,500. I've seen ads. You could buy a Chevy Nova, $2,500.
Right.
Okay. So if you had enough money at that time, early 70s, to buy 4 automobiles, they were thinking, that's kind of abnormal. So we're going to set it at $10,000. We're going to set this monetary level.
Wow, the reason is fucking irrelevant. Kent was clearly aware of the reporting requirements and the way that would affect his taxes, since he wasn't a 501c3, and this stuff would have been related to him. So he structured transactions to avoid the reporting requirements, which would have put him more on the radar of the IRS, which only wound up getting enough attention to eventually put him on a even bigger IRS radar.
At a random pick $10,000. They could have picked 10, 15, 20. They could have picked any amount, but they picked 10. And they said, look, anybody who's got that much.
I've never seen a supernova before, but if it's anything like my old Chevy Nova, it'll light up the night sky.
Cash, they're probably not, it's not normal. It's not illegal, but it's not normal. And so normal meaning, what is 80% maybe, or 85% of the public do? Well, 85% of the public, they don't carry $10,000 on them back then. And even today, of course, nowadays, that's what, 2 months rent and groceries. That's what about.
Right.
But so getting back on point, the IRS was told, okay, if you want to collect information, or if you want forms to be applicable, then you have to promulgate the forms according to another congressional statute that had been enacted, and that's the Paperwork Reduction Act, and that's available to be viewed online at 44 USC. I think it's 3512, if my recollection is good.
Oh my god, this sucks. This is the quality of KentHovind.com right here. In fact, since this is an actual conversation, it's slightly more listenable than anything at KentHovind.whatever now.
So the Paperwork Reduction Act, 44 U.S.C. 3512, says, in part, that if a government agency wants to mandate and require that the citizenry do something, either give up information or give us something, then it must be that this demand requirement must be in a form that has two things. It's got an expiration date, and it has to have an Office of Management and Budget number assigned to it. And that is what is necessary for the form to be mandatory.
Here's all these random leaps in logic, and all these hoops you must go through for these to make sense. Go, my minions, and jump through the hoops. Leaps in logic that require insane interpretations to make stuff make sense. A paperwork reduction act would only be involved with the idea of reducing actual physical paperwork. There may be things labeled Paperwork Efficiency Act or Reduction Act or whatever that may involve simplifying of procedures, but tomato, that doesn't just eliminate statutes. And so reducing paperwork under whatever context wouldn't consist of banks just not bothering. Also, that's a bank thing that they do. They report to the government. So the whole thing is they are reporting these transactions to the system to be processed, to be accounted for taxation purposes. Because liquid assets get taxed differently from the saved assets at a certain point. And if you're structuring those transactions, it makes your liquid assets not look as fluid as they are, or something to that effect is my best guess. I'm going to be honest, I don't totally understand exactly the reasoning behind structuring. I know Hovind says a load of crap. Why? But at the same rate, I get it, if that makes sense. I could look into it further, like why it is a thing, but I honestly don't fucking care. It's obvious from the way the statute is that Kent did it. The reasoning for the form, whatever the catalyst of it is, really doesn't matter. I'm throwing best ideas I can out there, but the reasoning truly doesn't matter.
Well, it turned out that the IRS wanted to use a form called the Currency Transaction Report, but they missed the deadline, or for whatever reason chose to not make it mandatory by properly promulgating the form. But they've still created the form. So if
you realize even back then it would have just been an entry into a database, right? It wouldn't have been a form. And the presence of a form or no form, a physical piece of paper in front of you, is irrelevant.
if they created the form without complying with the requirements of the Paperwork Reduction Act, then the form is called a bogus form or just a policy form. So that's exactly what they've been using as a policy form. And if you were to go into any bank today and you walk in with $10,000 or $15,000, and you want to make a deposit into checking or savings or whatever, they are going to think, okay, it's over 10, so I've got to fill out a CTR because I have to. It's a.
But the structuring stuff is involved with withdrawals, not deposits.
Have to thing. And they think that it's an absolute mandatory law because of the way they've been programmed. If a bank clerk were to not fill out that form, they could get fired over it. But the form is actually a bogus form because the IRS has never, since the early 70s when the form was from the very beginning created, these forms were never properly promulgated. And as a requirement of such, there is no actual law that requires the form.
And it basically boils down into the typical sob-sit bullshit. Well, there's no law. Show me in Black's Law's dictionary.
Follow that?
Oh, yeah, but they charged me 45 times of doing that. That's most of my counts.
That is correct. But now I called up your Pensacola number when I had heard that you were arrested, and I offered my research services, and I think it was Eric that answered the phone. I believe it was. I don't think anybody else answered the phone.
Yeah, Chris brings up a good point. Note, this is not the opinion of the IRS or any judge you would ever face. Certainly, no lawyer will tell you this. No tax professional will tell you anything like anything these clowns are talking about. We are witnessing grade A soft sit madness here.
And Eric said, "Don't bother. We've already got a lawyer, and he's taking care of it." And so I had to back.
Claude puts up a nice summary. Structuring laws are a way of ensuring rich people who deal in cash don't evade their responsibility to render unto Caesars.
Off. So, because I'm not a lawyer, but I'm a researcher. And what I found was that not only did there not be a requirement for you to either collect or to require the collection of anybody's taxes because you had never applied for the unpaid government office of withholding agent.
Right.
Excuse me. Oh. So are you going to talk about redeeming the straw man next, Kent? Because you've just driven off into soft sit la la land 100%.
It's a very specific form that needs to be filled out if you're ever going to be a withholding agent. And secondly, the withholding statutes, that's going to be 26 USC 1441 through, I believe, 1446 at least. The withholding statutes apply to foreigners.
Right.
It specifically applies to foreigners. And if you recall, I asked you, and I think I asked you in email and by phone, did you ever hire any foreigners? Because if you did, and you didn't withhold any tax from them, then they're
Oh yes, the perfectly defined legal term when it comes to I-9s and W-2s and 1099s and all that other shit. Foreigner. Yep, that's totally a legally defined term that is something that taxes are based upon. Are you talking about, undocumented migrant workers that are paid in cash, which I don't have a fucking problem with because we get so much more than people claim that they take. Which brings up again the phenomena I call Schrodinger's Mexican. They're simultaneously lazy as fuck and mooches, yet they're taking all the jobs. Which is funny, all these jobs that I don't see random, quote, Americans. How you can be from the American supercontinent and not be an American is beyond me, but American to these fuckers means United States of America rather than being from North or South America in general. Hence me calling it the American supercontinent. I like to call it that. What was I going at? Oh yeah. That somehow they simultaneously do all the work but are lazy as hell. I don't understand that. But nobody wants those jobs anyway because they're hard fucking work. And apparently areas with heavy deportations are having problems getting shit done because the workforce has been just eradicated for that kind of labor. It's just beautiful. But yeah, if you had foreign workers, what does that mean? Please explain, guy on phone.
might have been some liability on you if you had been a withholding agent.
Right.
So not only did you tell me, you're the one that told me that you did not apply ever to the IRS to for permission to become a withholding agent. They at the time had a very specific form. They might have changed the form in since then, since the 70s. But to be a withholding agent, you have to ask for the permission to be one. Number two, if you hire a foreigner, you have to notify them that, hey, you're a foreigner, and according to the withholding statutes, I have to withhold 30.
Yeah, I'll agree, Carl. The political situation is fucking insane. It is in many ways a myth. And yeah, the nature of independent political movements. I think everyone is technically independent to one degree or another, and it's just how far you may align with one side or other in our particular economic structure. And if someone wants to broadly summarize their political leanings in a way that one can understand, but um, I'm so far left in the global political spectrum that it makes the American left look like the far right. So, for what that's worth.
3% of your pay and mail that into the IRS. And if you want to give it back, you got to contact them. But you told me you never hired any
Guy on the phone is KY ready for Dr. Hovind. Excuse me, Dr. He Hovind. Gotta bring that one out.
foreigners.
Right, never do.
And in addition to that, nobody who did work there who was an American
Whoa, wait. Oh, no, he was saying he never. No, hang on, I gotta listen to that again.
hold 30% of your pay and mail that into the IRS. And if you wanted to give it back, you got to contact them. But you
It's not how any of that works.
told me you never hired any foreigners.
Right, never do.
And
Never do. Look at that racist piece of shit. Never do. Define foreigner. You know what? No, Kent. Here's the thing. You fucking do when it's the kind of people you like. Remember you had that weird girl Yulia from like fucking Ukraine or Russia or where the fuck ever? Hanging out there, creepy as fuck, giving you massages. Yeah. Yeah, I remember that. Something like that kind of sticks in your mind. So those foreigners are okay, but not the ones that happen to speak a variant of Espanol, who tend to have tanner skin. But it was okay for them to come by and put up the sheetrock they were bragging about so much. Look on Claude Ball's channel. He had a video of that. And Claude did his own video on this stream, which I still need to go through and watch. Didn't have the opportunity today. Once I saw that this had happened, I was like, oh man, I got to do it. And Claude said, yes, please do. So here we are.
in addition to that, nobody
Yeah, you can thank Claude Balls for this stream happening right now.
who did work there who was an American ever handed you any withholding request forms. So even if they had handed you a request form, if you hadn't have been previously appointed,
God, this is such bullshit. And listen to it. It is nothing but soft sit rhetoric. This twisted ass, made up, deep. It's always like this. There's always this twisted, deep interpretation of particular laws and statutes that just conveniently mean, for whatever reason, they don't have to pay taxes. That's what it all boils down to. Any kind of fees, any kind of taxes, any of the basic monetary contributions to the public that cover things. They don't want to do it where they can escape it. I don't know what the hell it is with soft sits and this obsession with not having to pay relatively modest costs. They really are. But here we fucking are. Hear people bitch about the cost of a license plate renewal. I get tags. It was $140. It's like, wow, fucking get over it. Your vehicle's registered. You can go wherever the goddamn hell you want. Some people aren't that fortunate. Hell, some people in some countries can't travel where they want even if they wanted to. So, and they had the means. Maybe consider yourself very fortunate.
as a withholding agent, then that still could have been a problem because only a withholding agent has permission to withhold. So,
All right. Let me.
we had to cough. All right, so that covers the first 12.
Yeah, volunteers and missionaries who clocked in because there's a time clock at DAL. Yep, I love that.
Second,
And of course, I say that stressing the irony of the way Kent obviously wanted to lie about who the people who worked for him, what their titles actually were. They were most definitely employees.
set of 45, I examined every one of their indictment points, and at no time in that indictment did
Oh, interesting. Polyphonics brings up also associates of Kent have mentioned him wanting to bring in Vietnamese laborers to DAL. Forgot who mentioned that though. Fascinating.
They mention or prove or show or allege that you made any transaction greater than or at or greater than $10,000 at any point in their indictment. Yet, after the jury had made their decision, but before sentencing, the parameters were changed such
People don't want to pay a fee for a sticker, but have no problem paying thousands for health care. Yeah, yeah. I've said this before, but I'll go. And I know, you're not stressing it as just, oh, you're just paying for a sticker. But it's like, no, you're paying a registration fee, and the sticker that is a verification that you have paid those fees. And I know you all know that, but that's something that really kills me is when people just say, oh, you're just buying a sticker. Why I charge you $160 for a sticker? And it's like, you're forgetting what it represents. That's the key thing. And it's just another sign of the intelligence or lack thereof in a great many people.
that it allowed you to be sent to prison for structuring because any quantity.
Some people in this country can't drive. I don't mean that in the Memphis can't drive. I mean, for whatever reason in life, they cannot drive. Circumstances have prevented them.
One of those combined with any other one could have amounted up to or greater than $10,000. An 8,000 and a 9,000 would be 17.
And yeah, in cases like Otaku having to pay $60 when situations are stressed, things are stressed for him, that is completely understandable to be unhappy for it, and you're unhappy for a right reason. Whether or not the fee should need to be done is its own thing, but in the system we have currently and the way things work, that's part of the trade. The problem is the fact that people can be in situations where things are tight like they are. We should never be in that kind of shape. Then again, there shouldn't be fees for that stuff, for like automobile registration and the like, but that implies that everything is balanced out properly in a finely tuned socialist structure. But what do I know? I'm just some left-wing nut job. Gotta go game day, you lot have fun later, Justin. I know you're probably gone by now, but if you rewatch the rest of this part, you are acknowledged, you are loved. Hovind loves Jeebus, however, only talks about himself and or evolution is dumb. Nothing else. Yeah. Like, I've honestly never seen him actually focus on Jesus. He'll bring it up in passing, but even then he mainly just focuses on the Old Testament.
1,000, even though they were done on different days, as they alleged in your indictment.
Yeah,
Yes, the wheel tax. Make it make sense.
2 weeks apart.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Like, again, I'm not saying that the individual fees and stuff we pay aren't worth criticizing, but it's the principle that people who are otherwise fine wish to get away with not having to pay anything. It just amazes me.
Them, that amounted to 17,000. Therefore, he's guilty, and that's what they did.
Yep. All right, hang on a second.
I had to cough. All right. So
hang on a second. I'm going through a tunnel.
Very last charge, charge number 58.
Oh yeah, you're the one who wanted him on there, Kent. So don't man. He's supposed to be trying to prove your point. God, you're a dick. This
is one of the ones that had a regulation.
Right.
Try to follow along with me on this. And all of this is proven, and nobody, not an attorney, not another paralegal, not a judge, there's nobody in America.
Did nobody anywhere also not give permission to put the plaintiff's book on the World Wide Web of the Internet? I still got to make that shirt. Love that phrase. World Wide Web of the Internet, which is technically correct.
Who can prove or show that what I found is not true. Now, count number 15.
Well, see, Kent hasn't heard himself talk for at least, actually, how long has it been, roughly? He's been on the phone with this guy for, okay. For like 15 minutes. Kent has not heard himself talk in 15 minutes. He's getting desperate.
Is where they allege that you interfered with a tax collection officer. So let me get into that. That statute does in fact have a regulation.
I'm actually amazed that they didn't get him with resisting. because I feel like he would have resisted arrest. That probably got dropped early on.
And so I went, pulled them all down, read
And I
the
say that as a suggestion that if he caught that charge, which I feel like he would have.
entire thing. It took months to read all of this. But what I found is this: that statute of interfering with a tax collection officer that you are alleged to have committed is specifically written according to the Supreme Court's requirement.
Actually, it's not an allegation. He was found guilty and served his time for it. So Kent was found guilty of doing.
That what you're accused of has to fit within the regulations. It specifically states when a tobacco tax officer around a warehouse or your home or your place of business, if you have a wholesale retail.
The whole thing is a matter that that's another thing soft sits do. They look at particular verbiage and only particular stuff. Or maybe this is a Black's Law's dictionary thing. And yes, I know it's Black's Law dictionary, but I say it the way soft sits do. Or oftentimes, instead, and this is especially common coincidentally with African American individuals or Moorish, who will say Black Law's dictionary because, their own inbuilt racism takes hold, their own particular prejudices and preferences for their own ethnic background. Because anyone of any ethnicity can be racist, and don't let anyone tell you anything different.
If you manufacture, transport, or sell tobacco products, you are absolutely required to give a tobacco tax official full, unfettered access to your business. And here's why.
Yeah, soft sits only care about themselves, and something funny is that soft sits oftentimes tend to be somewhat well off, insofar as whether or not circumstances in life allow them to get away with being dumbasses like they are, or they actually have some financial backup. It's interesting how much it goes hand in hand with an ability to just get away with bullshit.
Have been known in decades past and centuries past to hide and only show a little bit of tobacco when the tobacco tax man would show up to count the tobacco products and assess them a tax. So they would have a back room that was locked, and they would go, "What's in here?" "Oh, that's my laundry machine. That's my whatever." They would make up something, and they would interfere with the tobacco tax official. Well, Ken,
Sounds like somebody's got a runny nose.
you already disclosed to me you've never smoked, and you don't own a tobacco company. You don't import, export, or retail, or warehouse any tobacco products. But that is the exact definition of those regulations. Those are the only actions that regulation applies to. So when you read that in light of the Supreme Court requirement that says a regulation match the accused language, then it is 100% clear you did not violate any stinking statute or its regulation. That, by the way,
Oh, yes, it's a stinking statute now. Real legalese there.
those statutes and regulations are there for.
Look at the way Hovind's, like, clenching his mouth, his jaw. Maybe I've just been seeing too many goddamned files, but he's pulling the Epstein jaw here. Seriously, what the hell is up with Jeffrey Epstein's face? Like, he just looks fucking weird, man. Disturbing. Glad he's dead.
The proper administration
Sure.
of the law, but they're not there for the misuse and political persecution and prosecution. That's what they did to you.
Amen.
So I wiped out all 50, and it wasn't me. What I say doesn't matter. What I did was I pulled
You're right. What you say doesn't matter, dude.
the exact language from the appeals court and the Supreme Court quotes. And nobody can prove that what I've stated from their quotes, taken directly out of those cases, that it doesn't apply. Now, they might have the opinion, oh, well, it doesn't apply. Oh, so, okay, whatever. So there's always going to be some the tax protest.
Love it. Joseph having to mute Kent means we miss what Weirdo on the phone is saying.
He's a tax cheat. He's a con man, whatever. And to those, there's maybe not very many that are ever going to come around to your side. But if anybody...
And yes, Tubian, Sovsits are very much in the same realm as First Amendment auditors. Which, in some principles, I support the idea of what the First Amendment auditors believe they're doing. But they really just go around being obnoxious pricks, filming in situations where it just isn't proper. Just being assholes just because. Common decency and common sense.
Wants to really find out what the truth is, they need to order a set of the DVDs from you on Ken Hovind.
Yeah, dude's definitely a massive word salad. And yeah, I'd never heard of Epstein until he was dead either.
He's innocent. That entire series. And according to you, if they want to, they can make a copy of them and mail the originals back in good shape. Is that correct?
That's correct. Get their money back.
Okay.
They can make 1,000 copies and give them out. Please do.
There you go. So
All right.
If anybody wants to have, want to spread the rumors, or, he's a tax cheat, I challenge you, go get the data, listen to every single word, because it's there. It's all there, black and white, all 58 cases. They are completely destroyed. And so what we need is our present government officials need to reverse and either pardon your case or reverse the cases, reverse those convictions.
How much money should they pay me for this? Let's see, 10 years
That's all he cares about is the money.
prison, 10 years of ruined reputation, ruined marriage, ruined family, stole all the property. I'll tell them, start making zeros, and I'll tell you when to stop.
Yeah, that's the way it needs to be. I'd go with at least 7 or 8 zeros on the left side of the decimal point. But
yeah, okay. Well, hang on right there, brother, if you can, just for a second. I'm going to go quickly through the other slides and let people see for themselves. And if you have any comments at the end, you can let me know. Hang on right there.
okay, go ahead.
Okay. So structuring. That's 2 transactions in one day that total over 10, but each are under 10. We never did that.
That's not what it's defined as, and no, you didn't do that on a per day thing, but that's not what structuring is, Kent.
Okay. Several lawyers and tax and paralegals looked at my case to see if I broke any laws. If I did, I admit it. Okay. 3 categories. Here's what they found. First 12 counts, they charged me with failing to withhold taxes from workers. And also with
Later, Ian. Hope you have a good night.
withholding but failing to pay it over. How can you do both? My attorney didn't catch.
Easy, by, in multiple separate cases, not withholding and not paying withholding. So for some people who worked for you, you took money, and from others, you didn't take anything at all. But the money you took, you didn't give to the IRS, but you acted like you were taking taxes. It hit me, that's what you were doing. That since you had more than one person, you could have done either or, depending on your opinion of how the person should or shouldn't be paid / taxed / whatever.
Catch it or didn't want to catch it, okay? We paid him a bunch of money. Alan Ritchie, don't hire him to walk your dog, okay? He's out in Washington. Yeah.
Man, so much stuff Kent says could actually be seen as potentially libelous.
Attorney Alan Ritchie from
Or slanderous or something to that effect. I don't know. It's all a gray area. People are already throwing around those claims constantly. And go involving some other shit, so I don't want to touch that realm of things again.
Washington failed to catch it. But you did not apply to the IRS for their permission to be a withholding agent, like he just said. Therefore, you had no authority to do it. Withholding is mandatory only on foreigners. Here it is, 26 U.S.C. 1441 to 46. I didn't have any foreigners. So the first 12 charges should have been thrown out. Next 45 times over a 2 or 3 year period, my wife would go to the bank and take out $9,500 because one of our staff attorneys said, look, There's no law about it, but just take out less than 10,000 so you don't antagonize these folks.
Sorry, I had my own Hovind moment there. So you're admitting to the crime now, Kent, and you're not helping yourself with making side comments. Wow.
So once every 2 weeks, she'd take out 9,500.
No, you pulled out multiple 9.5, 9.6 thousand transactions in any given week.
Never two in one day. A couple times.
No, it was never two in one day, but it was very often. A couple of days or one day, then the next day.
You took out over 10, and the bank filled out their form. I don't care what form.
No, those weren't on the reports. I'm not saying the report, the indictment contained every single transaction, but it showed the examples of this clearly patterned, clearly structured 9.5 or 9.6 thousand withdrawal.
Forms they filled out, okay? So the federal appeals cases that he was referring to, Renus, Anzalone, Richter, those are all in the, you can see all that on the KentHovind.net. There is no such thing as structuring because the so-called mandatory reporting form was never properly promulgated by the IRS. It did not conform to the Paperwork Reduction Act. There is no law to break, but they give me 10 years in prison for breaking a law that doesn't exist, 45 times. The banking activity reporting form is voluntary.
Shit is so goddamn hilarious.
Not mandatory, and the bank does it. I don't care what forms they fill out. There's no criminal liability attached to withdrawing or depositing less than 10,000 in any transaction. Banks today believe it's mandatory, and they could fire their employees for not doing it because the manager wants you to do it. But it's not because of breaking a law. Structuring and smurfing examples, and they give some examples here, taking out, say you got 90,000 in cash.
Well, you know, Kent, at that point then it becomes policy of the bank. And if the bank finds issue with you not agreeing to policy, they have a right to refuse service. And I guess one could interpret their right to refuse service as saying, hey, this fucker ain't paying his taxes. Oh shit, we'll get right on that. But that's not how it went. The IRS independently investigated you for, obviously they caught wind of what was going on because you didn't really hide things very well. You kind of suck as a petty criminal.
So you split it up into 10 small amounts and deposit.
Oh, that's not really petty crime. That's more proper because it is beyond grand theft. If it was, a direct theft of money, it's complicated. Words. I'm burned out from this. Over 2 hours of Hovind. Good God. What's felonies? The amount of taxation that you probably or that you did owe the IRS was certainly, grand theft levels were conventional crime. Yeah, you suck as a criminal though.
9,000 each time. Okay. Let's see. We paid cash to some of our students that were working there because we didn't have a time clock, and we'd pay them, and they paid their own taxes. The government never lost a dime. The next 45 charges should have been thrown out. The reporting form was never promulgated. There is no law to break. Banks do it out of policy, but no law requires it. So throw those 45 times out. The last count, number 58, like he said, interfering with an officer.
Mapleson already did that. I did a stream where we read the complaint against Hovind, and it listed the transactions and stuff that they were getting him on. Listed each individual count. Went through the whole thing. So you can go check that out a couple of months back. You're able to tell which one it is because the thumbnail is just the, I think it's just the criminal, the text on the actual suit or whatever you'd call the document we were reading. It was a good number of months ago, so I can't remember.
Which, according to the regulations, I was falsely accused, of interfering with a tobacco inspection officer who appeared at his tobacco manufacturing plant, tobacco warehouse, tobacco shipping.
Oh, well, you see, he tried, but they just weren't having it. That's why.
Company or tobacco retailer store and blocked their way or refused to show them his tobacco inventory logs. President Trump.
Boy, I love how you're just reading all the stuff that your fucking clown on the phone just said over a period of damn near 20 minutes.
I smoked 2 cigarettes when I was 12 with my stupid friends. And I said, I don't want to be putting a button in my mouth the rest of my life. Forget it. I'm not doing this. I haven't touched one sentence. Okay?
No comment.
I only asked the public on the radio, I asked them, would they pray for the IRS agent to stop the fraud? So they accused me of, let's see, interfering with an officer because I prayed for the IRS agent. Okay? But they're using the law about tobacco. Think, President Trump, would you stop this insanity? Anyway, John David Roy Atchison was the U.S. attorney, assistant U.S. attorney in Florida's Northern District. He's one of the guys on the team that came after me. He investigated me for 5 years to find something wrong to put me in prison. September 16th, he was arrested at the Detroit airport in a sex sting organized by Macomb County Sheriff's Office. He had flown to Michigan with the intent of having sex with a 5-year-old. Atchison was a volunteer coach for girls softball and
Funny, earlier you said he was trying to buy CP. Which is it, Kent? Not that I care. Fuck this piece of shit. But he had very little involvement in your case, and himself being a criminal has no bearing on the legality or lack thereof of any actions you did or did not take.
basketball team, president of the Youth Sports Association. This is in Gulf Breeze, next to Pensacola.
Also, since we haven't brought it up in a bit, Donald Trump Epstein files. Reconcile that fuckface, then get back to me with your supposed virtue signaling.
Let's see. Florida's Northern District U.S. Attorney gained notoriety, arrested for suspicion of soliciting sex from a 5-year-old. Let's see. In the 1980s, he worked as U.S. Attorney in Pensacola. He worked on tax and financial crime cases. He was married to and had 3 children with Barbara Atchison, and he lived in Gulf Breeze near Pensacola. Let's see. He was charged with enticement of a minor to engage in sexual activity using internet, aggravated sexual abuse, traveling across state lines. He had a pair of earrings and a...
Oh yes, internet. Have any of you used internet? I enjoy internet.
doll and some Vaseline
I often browse the World Wide Web of the internet. Yes.
with him when he got off the plane. He was arrested. He tried to kill himself by hanging himself September 20th. Then they put him in suicide watch cell. Then he said, oh, I'm not going to do it. I'm sorry. I'm not fine. And October 5th, he killed himself. That's the guy who put me in prison for nothing. Nothing at all. Town is shaken
Hashtag David Roy Atchison didn't kill himself.
after prosecutors arrest in child sex sting. Here he is. New York Times. He made the New York Times. Let's see.
Boy, Kent, this is all really fascinating. What the hell does it actually have to do with with you having committed crimes?
Yeah, Atchison brought a Dora the Explorer doll, hoop earrings, and petroleum jelly.
Notice the deflection and the red herring. Oh yeah, focus on how evil this guy is.
Initiated online chat with an undercover agent. You can read all this for yourself. One thing was, he said, the agent said, is this going to hurt my daughter? He said, no, I've done it plenty. This is the U.S. attorney. Matthew, I'm not a tax protester. I've been a pretty bold preacher of the gospel for 51 years. My DVD number 5, that's the one when they came in with the sting operation. They said, get every DVD number 5. They searched the house, got them all together, but they missed the master.
Oh, yes. They, totally couldn't have just gotten a hold of every single piece of data. Hey, bragging about that, it's funny because that would mean that's still forbidden stuff and they would raid you anyway to get a hold of it. Also, by master, you mean just whatever fucking, real media player file that Eric helped whip up for you back in the day. Sure. Probably a college project or something. Secondly, that DVD would be so outlawed and so impossible to have anywhere. You couldn't possibly just find it on, YouTube, trivially enough. Oh, no, of course not. Schrodinger's they, again, somehow able to control the entire world without anyone realizing it, yet so incompetent they can't keep one fucking video file out of circulation. Also, just randomly now bringing up that's the reason they put him in jail, when he focused so much on all this stuff and had to say, every 2 weeks we'd pull out 9,500. Why? Just stick to the DVD 5 shit and just say they made all this shit up. That's a sign right there. He's full of it. The fact that he can go on for an hour with this convoluted story on how what he obviously fucking did isn't what happened. Just making shit up. The lies get deeper and deeper.
we still make it, okay? The dangers of
Ooh, no one fucking cares or viewed the whole thing. It's garbage just like everything else you say. You're a fucking monster. Drop dead.
evolution. This theory is not only stupid, it's dangerous. That's why they wanted to shut me up. I was exposing things that you're not supposed to expose.
Boy, they seem to have done a really stupid job of it. Also, again, if they wanted to shut you up, you would have just been Charlie Kirked. But that's implying that it wasn't another right-wing nut job who took that piece of shit out, which it was. So, yeah.
Okay? So let's see. I didn't break any tax or structuring laws. The pedophile U.S. attorney spent 5 years trying to find something to imprison me for. Agent Scott Schneider, IRS agent, who works for the IRS, forced my wife to open our ministry safe, found $42,000 more than that in cash, and made up a tax bill for the exact amount to the penny.
Boy, you just brought this up earlier. Did you forget that, Kent?
He made up the bill right there and then seized the cash. Then
Cry some more, Kent.
he seized 4 properties from the ministry that we had purchased, that we used.
Yes, he's just repeating himself now, like he always does.
29 Cummings, etc. And then they sold them back to my son for $450,000 some dollars. They seized the properties and the cash and put me in prison for 10 years. From prison, I tried to sue Agent Snyder for his violations of the law, but the weaponized Justice Department protected him. You can read about all that online. So,
well, if the department is so weaponized and you were aware of this back from the get-go, why did you try to go through the system? Kent, if the system is so weaponized, why are you trying to sue Mark Stoney? I thought the system was against you. Which is it, Kent? Is the system reliable enough for you to file your frivolous ass incorrectly structured suit against Mark Stoney? Or is it a conspiracy that's weaponized against you?
I had a judge that hates Christians who dismissed 2 juries who would not convict and convened a 3rd jury who finally did.
Yes, while you continue to talk about jury nullification in regards to that one case over in Arkansas that you've surprisingly shut up about. The snow's gone, Kent. What's wrong? Maybe the courts got wind and they got in contact with the SOB and were like, don't you come anywhere near this place.
I was given a ridiculous
We'll hold you on contempt if you come within the county.
sentence of 10 years for no crime at all, and I served it all. There's an Unmasking Kent Hovind video series. Kent Hovind is Innocent DVD series. So,
wow. Stupid ass shit made by people who slob on your knob constantly.
I've maintained my innocence for 20 years now, and I will till I die. Then God will expose all the corruption in my case. There is no statute of limitations on fraud. Lots of men in the Bible, lots of the Bible is written from prison by innocent men, convicted by corrupt politicians. That's why I'm appealing to you, President Trump, and anybody you can get on the case. But who's that senator from Missouri, that guy that goes after him really hard? Get all the guys on him, okay? You got the power to right this wrong, and it's your job. History is full of stories like mine where innocent people suffer, usually over greed by those in positions of power. As far as I know, my heart's right with God. I'm busy trying to please him and spread his word. You're welcome to join me or get out of the way. When the Jews saw the multitude, they were jealous, filled with envy. So they started speaking against Paul. They were jealous, okay?
I'm still here. I'm scrolling on Blue Sky right now. Oh, damn. That's cute, chibi NES style art of Cammy from Street Fighter. That's getting a retweet or a repost.
They raised persecution against Paul and Barnabas. This happens all through the Bible, chapter 18, chapter 24, chapter 25. They bring false accusations. Paul said, he answered for himself, neither against the law of the Jews, neither against the temple, I haven't offended, nor against Caesar. I didn't break any laws, Apostle Paul said. I agree, okay? He said, Festus, willing to do the Jews a favor, said, would you go to Jerusalem and be tried? He said, I appeal to Caesar. So I'm appealing to you, President Trump. Would you please just fix it? Investigate. Put those in jail who need to be in jail and return what they stole from me. And I'd like my good name back, okay? They put Jesus.
Your good name doesn't exist and hasn't for a long time. Holy fuck. How much more of this do we have? Okay, 7 minutes, but that little bit of bar looks like forever.
To death with false witnesses. They sought for false witness. Hey, who's willing to lie about Jesus? They look for him. Even Jesus, who had no sin, was arrested, falsely charged, tried, and executed by the weaponized Justice Department of his day. So they thought evil, God used it for good. I've been having a blast up here. 10 years now in Lenox, Alabama, 140 acres, visitors from all over the place. Come visit President Trump. We'd love to have you and your whole team come. Okay? Okay.
You know, all Kent wants from this is just the publicity. Nothing will ever happen, but if it even gets acknowledged, it'd be huge publicity. And oh, so many more people will come down to Dinosaur Adventure Lounge. Yeah, and they'll give me money. 'Cause that's all I care about is money.
Okay, so let's see. They examined me. They would have let him go. Here we go. I'd like everyone who loves the Lord and or loves our ministry and justice to post this video on your channel, any channel. Post it everywhere. Okay. Make shorts to post all over the internet. Contact your senator, representative, or Trump to fix this. All I can do is promise them fame. Come on my show.
Otaku. Anything I fucking want.
Say, you're the guy that helped me get all this done. Thank you. I'll make you famous and give you, take $20 I got. Okay. Pray for God to help us. Post comments on the moron channels, those are the atheist channels, who still say I'm a tax protester. Post all the comments.
Hi. Hey, Hovindites. Hovind is most definitely a tax protester, as is standard with sovereign citizens. If you would like to schedule a discussion with me on how Kent Hovind is 100% a sovereign citizen, feel free to email me, chris@zadara.com. Because he's a tax protester. And you most definitely, if you're going to defend him, need to come at something better than the same shit he says here, because, hate to break it to you, but we've already heard it.
Comments on their channels, please. Here's a letter I'm going to send out, and we'll put this, maybe Joe, I don't want to read the whole thing, but this is what I would say if I was writing to the president or something else, this letter, giving a summary of what happened. I'd like you to do several things. Look into the case. There's no statute of limitations. Expose the evil done to me and our Christian ministry. Impeach or jail the judge and others involved if need be. Overturn the case and restore my integrity and reputation, or at least give me a presidential pardon. Return the money they stole from our ministry, pay the damages, and leave me alone. I'm a 73-year-old Baptist preacher trying to serve my Lord and Savior 57 years now.
You're a piece of shit. Drop dead.
I love my Lord, my country, and my calling. If you're not the right one to help fix this gross injustice, tell me who is. If you need help on any of your projects or goals to bring America back, call me. I'd like to help you fix the public school system.
Pathetic. Delusions of grandeur with this fucking moron.
I taught high school science and math 15 years, have a PhD in education. I know the problem, and I know how to fix it. Give me a call. Okay. Any more comments there, brother? That's kind of summarizes what I hate to keep you on the line all night. Still there?
That's okay. You did a good job.
All right. So you just tell them to start making zeros on the check, and I'll tell them when to quit, huh?
That'll work.
I'm going to buy the whole state of Alabama. I'm not sure where I'd put it, though. Probably leave it right where it is, I guess. It's doing pretty good. Well, thank you so much. If people want,
You're welcome.
go to you did the Kent Hovind is Innocent series. You show all the laws, all the regulations. I didn't break any laws at all. And we need to get this fixed. So this is my birthday request. Happy birthday, Kent. So help me out. Thank you so much, brother. Talk to you later. Right?
Reminder, Hovind would be the kind of egotistical fuck to treat a spiritual birthday as just a birthday. So this fucker gets 2 birthdays in a row. What a prick.
Still there? Oh, I guess he's gone. Okay, bye.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Well, that's it. That's all I needed. Thank you, brother. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.
My pleasure. Bye-bye.
All right, folks, any questions or comments, Joseph? I normally don't go this long on my show, but how do I know God's will for me, sir? Hanso, it's different for everybody. Get along
Whoa. Holy giant-ass font, Batman.
with God someplace. Take a look. What equipment do you have?
It's in a book. Reading Dildo.
God probably is calling you to do something.
Okay, we're at the end of the main segment of stuff, so I'm going to jump Kent to 1.5x speed. So enjoy. I'm going to go about 1.6.
In line with what he gave you. I promise you did not call me to be a mother. So start there. Okay, what do you have? And God, what can I do? There's a war going on. Find something to do. If you can't shoot, carry bullets or pay for the bullets. Maybe you're really good at making money. Well, then
There's no fucking war, and I love your violent rhetoric. Remember, I'm legally armed, Kent. You can't own a firearm. The world needs actual change, not your spiritual bullshit.
Start supporting ministries, okay? Instead of buying a car every 2 years. Find out what your skills are and say, God, how can I give it to him? Lord, I don't know how much, you can have what I've got. Like a little boy brought to Jesus. He said, Jesus, got a big crowd of people out there. You're probably hungry. All I got is five biscuits and 2 fish sticks. But you can have it. You know what Jesus did with that little boy's lunch? Fed 5,000 men plus women plus children, probably 20,000 people, and sent the kid home with 12 baskets full of fragments. It made out pretty good. Give what you got to the Lord, okay? Other questions? Okay, question for Ken. Why did Jesus leave out some of the 10 Commandments? What he told the rich man was, I covered that the other night about the Sabbath issue. He left that one out because it's not required of New Testament non-Jewish believers. If you want to try to keep it, great. I've never met anybody who keeps it. They keep part of it and they think they're spiritual and you're not. They think they're higher than you. One guy's supposed to have a debate on the topic with me, and we're going to have it eventually. But he told you, Joseph, he can't do it certain days because he has to work every other Saturday. Is that true? Right. Okay. How do you explain to someone the Trinity? Boy, I wish I knew. God, I don't think we can fit the infinite God in our little
God, you suck, Kent.
bitty brain. A couple of things, illustrations kind of get around the edges of this. Space is three-dimensional. Length, width, height. Can you have just one or two?
It's space-time, Kent, and it's 4-dimensional.
You got one, you got all three. You understand that? I live in it, but I don't know if there's a way to explain that. Your brain is another example. You can think about things, but you can also think about what you're thinking about and pass judgment on it. You can say, that was a bad thought, that was a good thought. At the same time, your brain's doing unconscious things, posture, healing, etc., stuff like that. You can't think, you can't change it. You can't decide, I'm going to digest that hamburger faster. It's unconscious. So you have one brain doing 3 very distinct functions. Time, past, present, future. It's not possible to have just one. Those are little, all I know is ways to kind of illustrate part of it, but actually understand it. The Bible teaches it clearly. 1 John 5:7. That's why new Bibles have changed it. Compare King James, 1 John 5:7. Not John, 1 John. Way at the end of the Bible. 1 John 5:7. Compare King James with other versions. See what they did to that one. They butchered it. Throw them away. Get a King James. Okay? Let's see. Did dragons exist? The Bible mentions dragons quite a few times. I covered that on video number 3. I think that's probably done.
Oh boy, all these same exact questions that Kent has shit scripted for. I wonder if Joseph's just making up names and plopping them in.
Dinosaurs. Right? They've always lived with man. Watch video 3 for more on that. My question. Would I find myself hurting the evolutionists' feelings and pushes them away when I really just want to help them? Well, Elijah made fun of the prophets of Baal. Jesus talked to the Pharisees and said, you hypocrites, you bunch of vipers. Okay to call them names if it applies.
Sometimes you got smacked in the face, get your
Yeah, right. But so, I have to be honest, I haven't even asked God if I should quit doing it because I enjoy doing it so much. Okay. Do you think Moses and Elijah are actually outside of time, transfiguration? I don't know how to answer that question. Good question. They were transfigured. God can stop time if he wants, Maybe they can pay you back by ceasing to teach evolution in public schools. Well, I got plans if they give me about, I'm thinking a couple trillion, I could, accomplish my goals. Actually, I'm probably going to have to buy some new shoes. The Walmart shoes for $11. They've had it, I think. Got about 800 miles on them. I think I'll go to Walmart and buy a new pair of shoes, Joseph. I'm going to get the $19 ones this time.
You're not funny, Kent. Complaining about the 45K they stole from you and stuff, and you're wanting to try. Like, I'm just your humble little preacher who has more money than some people ever see a year, working their asses off.
In the Great Tribulation, do we have to flee to the mountains of Judea? Well, it's a long way from here. No, he's talking to his disciples, okay? But yeah, this tribulation's coming. We're going to be here for it. Get my video series called Whoa, What on Earth is About to Happen? We're here for the whole tribulation.
Yep, buy all my stuff.
Okay, it's been a full hour. Let's do more tomorrow night. We'll get back on the Bible character. Yes, sir.
I just want one quick thing. You have mentioned it several times over the years that you would like to see the federal government get rid of the Department of Education. So when you think about now the fact that Trump has gotten rid of the Department of Education, at least the national level.
Right. So education is for the parents. The government shouldn't have anything to do with it. Certainly the federal government. I mean, read the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence. This very specific things they're supposed to do. They should not be involved. Federal government should not be involved in welfare at all. They should not be involved in education at all. It's a state issue, maybe.
Are you happy that Trump?
Oh, yeah. He's talking about getting rid of the IRS, too. Yeah. All in favor of that, say aye. Aye. All opposed, say no. Eyes are above the nose. Okay. Is that it? That's it. Tomorrow night. See you then. Bye.
Oh, piss off, Kent. That's why I need to take breaks from this asshole now. I just don't have it in me anymore. All right. I don't have comment. I would love to read the rest of the last comments you guys have posted, but I'm a little burnt out. I'm actually getting to a point where I can't see worth a damn to even read comments. My vision's that crappy. And the tinnitus in my left ear has flared up really bad. So that's its own thing. I'm dying, everyone. I do have need to get into this $13.99 Canadian super chat from Rogue Rainbow. I'd rather get into a duel with Arthur Morgan than come on down to Dinosaur Adventureland. Sure. Y'all are the best though. Really. Um and yeah, I saw comments about liking Hovind when he speaks faster. The only reason I don't is I've had people complain that they listen to my videos at a higher speed, and the end result is that Hovind's going way too fast. So that's the reason I keep him on 1x. Sorry for the most part. Um Anyway, that's the end of that. Squeaky chair sure is squeaky. I'm gonna hop off here, fire up Guild Wars, maybe get some dinner, and that's gonna be that. So as always, much love. I'll catch everyone next time.